Perfect. 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 Perfect.
Yeah. Well, all right. Like you always say, welcome, welcome, welcome. Number one sports talking D. We ain't like the Falcons, we won't blow the lead. Look, all we talk is who that, who got cut and who back. Rookies in the vets, players you should look at. It's the sports coma, you don't wanna miss it. Got the pre-game party, post-game statistics. Get a visit from Sway, maybe DC or 5. It's the hottest thing smoking, Big Q and the guys. Go to YouTube Live, make sure you subscribe. Interviews inside the Saints locker room high. Talk to Drew, Jordan, Zach, Peyton, New Orleans, who that nation. Best believe when I say we bleed gold and black. Ain't a miracle or rivalry could ever hold us back. No, Beastquake, Bounty Gate, let the truth be told. It's the sports coma, all we know is Saints Super Bowl. Yeah.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Who that fam? What's going on with the Black and Gold family members in the building? Who that to the beautiful Black and Gold faithful chiming in the live stream? Once again, it's time for another episode of the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. I'm Big Q if you're new to the live stream. And this is Sports Coma, or TSC Live as we call it. TSC Live 137, episode 538. Been over 5 years of Saint coverage coming at you strong and direct. And we like to thank all the beautiful Black and Gold family members chiming in the live stream on this one. Much love to you and Yearn. 985J in the building. What up, 985? Coincidentally, bro, I just got your email. Somebody forwarded me your email, bro. I just got your email about the CMX, I think it's called. And I think I was able to read it. I didn't have an opportunity to respond to it, but I'm going to respond to it. I think that's an absolutely tremendous thing that's going on in the city of Hammond, Louisiana. And for those who don't know, there is a African-American or Black economic forum. I want to say economic forum, Jay, correct me in the live chat. But much love, man, to what's going on up there As far as the economics is concerned, I'm a major supporter of the economics. I think that is a major empowerment factor. So big ups to you and Yearn, and I'm gonna respond to it as soon as I can, bro. I got a lot of different things on my plate, but thank you and your wife for sending me that information. Much love to you, fam. CMC Productions, who that to you? Good to see you in the chat, CMC Productions. Much love to you. Who that to the live stream? If you're new, please feel free to subscribe. If we have any new subscribers in the chat, please hit the subscribe button to join the great Saint Tank, man. Join us. Good to see you. Scoob, who that to my dog Scoob in the building as well. Travis 504, who that to you, Travis? Much love to you. Tori, what up, my dog? Tori Shepard Sr. in the building as well. Ferg 318 became a pro star. Thank you, Ferg 318 in the building. Thank you for your support and welcome to the pro stars, man. Welcome to the family, the YouTube membership family. Much love to the family for joining that as well. Beautiful. Thank you. Also, Derek, who that to you, Derek? Much love to you, Derek Lockett. Big ups to you and Yearn as well. Eddie Evans, what up, Eddie? Who that to you? Says, who that family? I pray that all is well. Y'all have a blessed day. Same with you, Eddie. Who that to you? Pelicans Nola, who that to you? Pelicans Nola, good to see you in the live chat as well, family. Much love to you as well. Let's see who else we got chiming in the live stream as well. Sufian, who that? To Sufian, our international great Saint Tank family chiming in from Paris, France, in the building as well. Who else we got? Tro, what's up, Tro? Tro blew it in the building. Good to see Tro. Much love to you, family. Good to see you in the chat as well. Kevin McKnight, who that to you, Kevin? Good to see you as well, my fam. Who that? Byron, what up to my dog Byron chiming in the chat? Much love to you. Brewman, what up, Brewman? Brewman 91 in the building. Demetric Holmes, who that to you, Demetric? Who that to you as well, family? Good to see both of y'all in the chat as well. Gundam 13 in the building. He says, what's Q? Big Q, you probably tired of me asking about the Saints season for 2020, but will the season be a goal? Well, we're going to cover that today. It's a little news I'm going to give you on that today. We're going to go over it. Gundam, just be patient with me. We will breach that topic today on this show because that is not a question that I grow tired of anybody, because as you know, the developments are constantly changing. So it's not necessarily a concrete thing, but it's something that's ever morphing and changing and shaping as we move forward, as we watching what the NBA's doing. And we'll have a Pelican post-game report this weekend covering the latest Pelican news, as several Pelicans came down, were tested with the C-19 situation. And it's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of stuff that's not exactly right. A lot of the medical people still don't really truly know what's going on. So it's going to be some difficulty to be able to do this, to be able to get through this. This is unrealistic. I mean, it's not unrealistic as terms that it can't be done, but nobody's ever been through something like this. Now, they've had situations before throughout the world that we kind of ignored, like the SARS and the MERS and all that kind of stuff. Even a Ebola epidemic that occurred, if you remember, several years ago throughout the country. So we've dealt with a lot as a people in this country and in the world. So it's ever changing, but we're going to keep an eye. I'm going to share some news with the family members about that. But thank you, Gundam. And remember, I've never grow tired of questions, fam. I'm here to talk to you and converse with the family, man. That's what I love to do. That's the beautiful part about it. So thank you once again. Mr. Boombastic, good to see you in there. Who that to your family as well. Daniel Powell, who that to you, Daniel? Good to see your family. Thank you for joining us on today's stream as well. And all the beautiful Tramal, who that to you, Tramal? Much love to you, Tramal. I see your family chiming in as well. Uncle Paul is in the building. Uncle Paul is chiming in. Good to see him in the live stream as well, too. So big ups to the family members chiming in. Please hit the like button. If you aren't a subscriber, please, it's a good time to hit the subscribe button right now. So, and join us on our trip as we go through some of the Saints news and notes today on this episode of the Sports Coma. I'll try not to keep the family members late. Usually our live streams go on, man. When we get to talking the Saints, 2-3 hours pass. It's just like 30 minutes. To me, it's like 30, 40 minutes, and I turn around, it's 3 or 4 hours done pass. That's how good it is when you talk about something you love. You talk about the Saints. But anyway, family, on today's show, we're going to talk about several different topics that we're going to cover on the show today. And I'm going to go through each one of them. Let's see here. Let me see if I can just give me a second. And I'll see if I can share the screen with the family members. Let's see. Give me just a second here, family. Let's see here. All right, fam. Thank y'all for being patient. We about to get into it, and I'm gonna share my screen with this family members so the family will know. I'm just gonna cycle through a few of these articles, and some of this stuff is what we're gonna cover today on the show. And of course, one of the first topics I want to go over. Who that to you, Javier? Good to see you in the chat as well. Who that to you? The NFL. It's just released not too long ago. The NFL's to cut back on preseason games. We know that was gonna happen. Dealing with a lot of stuff that's going. We'll cover this article today. We'll also talk about the top 20 Saints sack leaders. Now, we covered this portion of this on the TSC Q&A, which our membership, YouTube members and Patreon family members get. It's a special show that we only do for our members and our Patreon champions. And last night we had a 3-hour show. We covered this. This was a fun topic. I wanted to bring it to light. On today's show, as we discuss the top sack leaders that's ahead of Cam on the list, and some of the Saints' most ferocious sackers. We'll go over it and walk down memory lane. Uncle Paul, I think you would enjoy this one. Also, we'll talk about another issue, the Saints' top 10 biggest 20 salary cap hits before training cap. We'll cover this story as well. We'll talk about Matt Ryan saying he's the best quarterback in the NFC South. He's talking mess, and we'll get into that as well. And then, of course, this happened several days ago, but Cam Newton joins the Patriots. The former Carolina Panther superstar quarterback is now a Patriot, and he's working out with Mohamed Sanu, former Falcon. So former Panther and the former Falcon working out with the Patriots, working out together as members. Now, Sanu, you remember he got traded up there. We'll talk a little bit about it, not too much. Then we'll talk about a tweet, a real weird cryptic tweet that Elvin Kamara tweeted out. I don't know if you guys were paying attention to that. He tweeted it out this morning and said, "I got some news," and then didn't elaborate. So a lot of people kind of, what's going on here? And I'll hear your commentary on it and see if you guys, what you think he could be tweeting about. We'll leave it up to you and put it out there and see what you could talk about. Now, without further ado, let's get into some of the stories. NFL to cut back on preseason games for 2020. Of course, we recognize this. This was released earlier by the NFL.com, but the NFL is reportedly cutting back on preseason games. The announcement expected to come out by the league on Thursday, which will eliminate the first and fourth preseason games. They said the move was driven by, and let me highlight this, the move was driven by two primary factors. First, teams who will be playing preseason games on the road who won't want to move many people. Second, given that no team had on-field practice sessions in off-season, coaches would rather have the extra time to work with their teams, and that will happen if they don't have to worry about 2 extra preseason games. So eliminated preseason by 2, which is a positive in my opinion because I don't like the preseason that much. I think it's overrated. This means that the New Orleans Saints officially won't make their debut against the Rams in the SoFi Stadium, which is slated for August the 14th. The league has previously canceled any and all joint practices, and this doesn't exactly come as a shock with C-19 numbers rising. The Saints will also not have their final game at home, which is against the Dolphins on September the 3rd. So what's left on the schedule? 2 nationally televised games, according to the report, is that the Week 2 matchup, preseason Week 2 matchup, August the 23rd at Pittsburgh at 7 p.m. on Fox. And then, of course, the Week 3 preseason matchup against the Houston Texans, August the 29th at 7 p.m. And then, of course, they were saying, while things can absolutely change between now and then, it seems like a pretty safe bet that the league would give the league it seemed like a pretty safe bet that for the league. It would give the league almost a full 2 weeks before the season opener, which is Thursday, September the 10th against the Texans and defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. So 2 preseason games are eliminated off the slate for the Saints. Let's move on to the next topic. which is the top 20 Saints sacks guys on the board, and where Cameron Jordan falls on the list. Now, of course, this is a list of some of the greatest Saints sackers in the history. It don't matter if you're defensive end, a defensive lineman, a linebacker, or a defensive back. You're on this list, and we'll start off with some of these top people at the top. And I know Uncle Paul will appreciate the hell out of this. Who that to you, Derek? Derek Sempe in the building. Good to see you, family. Who that to you? Please hit the like button, family. All right, at the top of the 20th spot sits defensive back Roman Harper. Now, Harper, from 2006 to 2013 and 2016, he had 17 sacks. He sits at the 20th spot. Going to number 19, former linebacker Keith Mitchell from 97 to 2000. He had 18 and a half sacks for the Saints. I remember Keith Mitchell, pretty decent linebacker. Outside of that, tied for 17th, Whitney Paul, 1982 to 85. He had 23 sacks with the team. Mark Fields fires up the list. He's also tied with 17. He had 23 sacks from 95 to 2000. A lot of people remember Mark Fields. He was one of the bright spots in a very dismal team on defense, to be honest with you. Mark Fields was. Okay, going to 16, Willie Whitehead. I remember Willie Whitehead. I wish we had a Willie Whitehead on the Saints defensive line today. A guy who was extremely ferocious, who was good at what he did. And it didn't matter if you put Willie at defensive end or defensive tackle, he coming for you. From 99 to 2006, he amassed 24 and a half sacks. So big ups to Willie Whitehead. Number 15 is defensive end Jumpy Gathers. That's just a football name all kind of ways. Jumpy Gathers, his son plays in the NFL, matter of fact, in the league. He's from 1984 to 89, he amassed 26 sacks with the Saints. And that's one of my favorites. Junior Gillette is at 14 on the list. Now, you look at Jumpy with 26 at 15, and then you jump all the way to 31 and a half with Junior Gillette sitting up there. Gillette played 4 seasons with the Saints, 2010 to 2014. He amassed 31 and a half sacks. Now, I had Junior Gillette, who, if he would have kept his head screwed on straight, Junior Gillette could have definitely, in my opinion, pierced the top 5. He's in there with 14. He had 31 sacks from 2010 to 2014. Just a shame how he went. He just destroyed his career with the Saints. Never was the same after that, after talking shit about Sean Payton and his woman. Number 13, Bruce Clark. A lot of people forgot Bruce Clark, another very good defensive end for the Saints from 1982 to 1988. This guy had 39 and a half sacks. Bruce Clark. Then, of course, tied for jumping to number 11 because you had several players tied at the number 11 spot. Ronaldo Turnbull from 1990 to 1996. That's Wade's, one of his favorite Saints players. Had 44 and a half sacks for the Saints coming up. 1990 to 96, 44 and a half sacks, Ronaldo Turnbull. Tied with Darian Howard. Remember the former Kansas State Jayhawk. Darian Howard's also 44 and a half sacks for the black and gold. 2 really terrific defensive ends right there. Although Turnbull played linebacker too. Going to Jim Wilkes. Wilkes since at number 10. 1981 to 1993, had a lot of time to amass stuff. He had 45 and a half sacks for the Saints. Jim Wilkes. He comes in at number 10 spot on the Saints sack list. Number 9 is Charles Grant. People don't realize how really good Charles Grant was when he played for the Saints. Now, as he got paid, he had the Riddick Bowe effect. When he got to the top, got that money, he just went downhill after that. The numbers was not quite the same. But he breached the top 10 spot at number 9. He had 47 sacks between 2002 and 2009. Number 8, Leroy Glover comes into the fold. Leroy had 50 sacks. And what's really impressive about Leroy Glover is the fact that Leroy, from 97 to 2001, had 50 sacks for the Saints. 50 sacks. What's impressive is he was a defensive tackle doing that. He did that as a defensive tackle, Leroy Glover. That was the real awesome thing about him. And then, of course, below him, who's just a half a sack better, is Joe Johnson. That's a straight up football name. Joe Johnson. 94 to 2001, Joe had 50 and a half sacks. He's a half a sack better than Leroy Glover. We talked about this. What's crazy is that Joe Johnson and Leroy Glover played in the same time span, which was absolutely bonkers to know that that kind of stuff was going on. That Joe Johnson is 50 and a half sacks, and one of my favorite all-time Saints, Joe Johnson, is on that list. Number 6, Frank Warren comes in. Now, he had 52 and a half sacks as well from 81 to 94. Frank Warren was also a wildebeest. 52 and a half sacks for the Saints. Some of these really great defensive linemen, it's just a shame how just incredibly awesome. We had defensive interior linemen and outside people, and so few of them, man, they just couldn't get that bowl together. The great one, Will Smith, comes in at number 5 with 67 and a half sacks from 2004 to 2012. Much love and rest in power to Will Smith. Gone way too soon. Way too soon over nonsense. Absolutely crazy. Iceman, who that to you? Throat cutter, who that to you? Good to see you in the chat, family. Will Smith. Now, look, this is the jump. Frank Warren's 52 and a half at number 6. Will Smith comes in at 67 and a half, a big ass jump in sacks. He sits entrenched at the number 5 position. Number 4 is Pat Swilling, one of the greatest linebackers we ever had. He had 76 and a half sacks for the Saints. Just Swilling was a beast down here. A lot of people believe that Pat Swilling benefited from the fact that you had guys there like Frank Warren, Joe Johnson, Frank Warren, Ricky Jackson, Jim Wilkes, and Jumpy Gathers and guys like that who were getting sacks. And Pat Swilling was firing off the opposite side, the weak side, while Ricky Jackson was doing the strong side work. And it was just, it matters not. Pat Swilling handled business. 76 and a half sacks from Pat Swilling. Just don't let him be your politician. Going to number 3, Dwayne Martin. Now, Dwayne Martin is one of my all-time favorite defensive ends for the Saints. Why? Because Wayne Martin played his entire career with the Saints from 89 to 99. He played defensive end at first. He got a little older. They switched him to defensive tackle. It never stopped the production. Wayne Martin was always a beast and is one of the great all-time Saints. He had 82 and a half sacks in his tenure with the black and gold. So big ups to Wayne Martin, one of my favorite and some of forgotten Saints. And of course, at number 2, the Cam the Man Jordan sits with 87 sacks. He had 15 and a half last year. Now, Cam, like I said before, could have had 20 sacks, but there is no other Saint except for the Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winner, of course, with the Niners, Ricky Jackson, who amassed 115 sacks from 81 to 93 for the black and gold. 115 sacks for Ricky Jackson, man. That's who Cam is chasing down for the sack. The all-time greatest sacker in Saints history is that guy. That's the only guy that Cam's looking at right now. And he's just turned 30. He does have a surefire chance of grabbing and pulling down his record. If he gets 10 sacks, if the league works on through like we expected, and Cam gets 10 to 15 sacks next year, in 2 years, 2.5 years, Cam could catch Ricky Jackson for sacks. That is out of the world. And that just goes to show you Cam Jordan, man, and how great Cam Jordan is, and how we underappreciate Cam Jordan and what he does here for the Saints defense. The fact that he's always on the field, very seldom is he injured, and his production. Very, very excellent defensive end, edge rusher, whatever you want to call him. I call him a defensive end because he can play the run as well as the pass. He can pass rush as well. Cam is special, and it's good to have him and Drew together. It's going to be a special year. So let's move on to the next topic. That was fun walking down memory lane, seeing some of those old sackers, because some of those names people haven't mentioned in some time. Going on to the next topic. Saints 10 biggest 2020 salary cap hits before training camp. This is coming from the Saints Wire, another one of my favorite Saints online resources. And this is pretty much a list based upon the cap hits that the team is facing. Now, New Orleans sort of have a reputation for cooking the books, or at least getting creative when it comes to salary cap accounting. They look to maximize their resources every offseason to put the team in position to get better, whether by adding veteran free agents to higher impact roles or checking off boxes so they can make the most of their value draft picks. 2020 has gone in no differently, has gone no differently for the Saints. They have a relative wealth of salary cap space available right now, giving them rare flexibility, but they will have to choose with it. What they'll choose with is anybody guess. To help illustrate how they arrived here, we listed the 10 highest Saints cap hits for this upcoming season. Up top, Drew Brees. What's the hit? 23.6 for Drew. Huge hit on the cap. Number 2, Demario Davis sits there with 9.9 on the cap. Cam the man Jordan, 9 point, just over 9 million for Cam. Jared Cook with 9 million flat. Teron Armstead, 8.3 mil on the cap. Sheldon Rankins, who has 7.6 on the cap. And Big Sheldon is healthy. I'm hearing various reports and rumors that Sheldon is healthy and ready to contribute, in which could be his final year. Mike Thomas, 7 million flat. Malcolm Brown, 6 million flat. You got all these guys. Let me just go up and down this list here. All these guys are impactful starters. Drew Brees, starter. Demario Davis, high impact starter Drew. High impact starter Demario. High impact starter Cam. High impact starter Jared Cook. High impact starter Teron Armstead. Major impact player Sheldon Rankins. Michael Thomas, high impact player. Malcolm Brown, excellent impact player. 6 million. And then who's next? Nick Easton. 5.8 million against the cap. You mean to tell me you don't think the Saints gonna release this effing guy and put him down somewhere and free up more money if they need to go make a move? I mean, come on. We all know this guy is a backup right now, and there are other guys that are better than him at his position. 5.8, almost 6 against the cap for Nick Easton. I was saying 5. I don't know where this guy is getting his numbers from, but that's even better in my book. And then it goes back from Bizarro land with Nick Easton's 5.8 to Marshawn Lattimore's at 4.8 impact starter, and that's it. Now you remember that old story? One of these things don't belong here. Remember that? One of these things don't belong here. Look at his list. These are high impact players at damn near every position, and then all of a sudden, bam, Nick Easton. You tell me you think his ass is grass. I would say yes, indeed. All right, let's move on to the next story. That was fun. Matt Ryan says he's the best quarterback. Excuse me for that. It's saying Matt Ryan saying he's the best quarterback in the NFC South. Did you hear that one? Did you hear the one about Matt Ryan saying that he's the best quarterback in the NFC? When asked about backs, including a pair of future first ballot Hall of Famers who will have a combined age of 84 when they meet in week 1. But another quarterback in the division recently proclaimed that he's the best. Now, Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan appeared on Pardon My Take, and Big Cat called himself the best of the bunch. It's a bunch that includes Breeze, Brady, Bridgewater, Winston, Taysom. And then he says Ryan won the NFL's MVP award 4 years ago and helped the Falcons build a 28-3 lead in the third quarter Super Bowl. After the Falcons lost the game, they became basically disregarded. They shouldn't be. Ryan shouldn't be. As discussed, he says Ryan has 4,400 odds to win the MVP award this year. That makes him an intriguing option. Let's get this straight about the Falcons. The Falcons, to me, are a desperate team. They didn't fire the general manager. They should have. They didn't get rid of the coach. They should have. So a lot of these guys are on short strings. Matt Ryan, is still a quality quarterback. He's still a quality quarterback. He still has excellent weapons like Julio Jones and Ridley. Then they traded for and got Hurst, the big tight end from the Baltimore Ravens, to give him a more physical weapon. Then they, of course, signed Ty Gurley, who is dealing with injuries issues of his own. So, and then, of course, the defense, they were able to add a few pieces there. A lot of people not looking at the Falcons seriously, but they are still a dangerous team. Every time they play the Saints, they push the Saints. They just know the Saints so well. So for him to say this, of course, it's ridiculous, and I think it might be like a tongue-in-cheek type deal with Ryan, because nobody but Atlanta Falcons fans believe Matt Ryan is the best quarterback in the NFC South. And even if they keep it real, even most of them could say that. Hell no, he's not the best. When you're talking about quarterbacks, 2 first ballot Hall of Famers in Tom Brady and Drew Brees that's playing on high levels, I can't see how you would consider yourself amongst them when you didn't do nothing. But anyway, that's Matt Ryan. I thought that was entertaining to see that Matt Ryan considers himself the best in the NFC South. Very funny. Going to the next one, Cam joined and Mohamed Sanu all working out together. Of course, early in the week, people know that Cam signed with the Patriots. And to become their quarterback, a lot of people then went on a tirade of how the Patriots are going back to the playoffs and then to the Super Bowl and all this kind of stuff in here. I was cautioning people to pump your goddamn brakes. You don't know which Cam you're getting. He does look healthy, but you don't know what kind of Cam you're getting. Are you getting the motivated Cam who is a brute, who's dead serious about what he's doing, or you getting the guy that want to design hats and scarves? You know, I mean, it's just, you know, I just don't know. The last couple of years, maybe a change of scenery would hurt him. I much love to Cam. You know, I think he'll be okay up there, but they'll be a lot better off with him than what they do that other kid up there. But much love to Cam. He going to the AFC, and it's just amazing how the NFC South literally flipped over its talent. I mean, you had Cam, who's the former Carolina Panther, who's the Patriot quarterback. You had the Buccaneers, Jameis Winston, who's a former Buccaneers quarterback, now the backup to the Saints quarterback, Drew Brees. You have Carolina, who then took the former Saints backup, Ted Bridgewater, as their starting quarterback. Just a lot of crazy movements in the NFC South. Former starter Winston to the Saints as a backup. Former Saints backup Bridgewater to the Patriots as a starter. Former starter Cam Jordan from the Panthers to the Patriots. Former Patriot starter Tom Brady to the Buccaneers. You see what I'm saying? These weird relationships, like, you know, it's crazy because Jameis comes here from Tampa. Tom comes down from New England, in which Cam goes to New England, out the NFC. Tom comes to NFC South, replaces Jameis Winston, who then shifts to the backup as backup behind Drew Brees. Drew Brees backup, Teddy Bridgewater, then shifts to quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Very weird movements. You can't ignore those weird movements, man. It's like they all interconnected. You know what I'm saying? Very strange, man, how this stuff went this year. Very strange. And of course, another article in the final article is Alvin Kamara's cryptic tweet that he sent out. And I'm going to let the family members chime in on that, what they think about it. Says he got some news. Could this be possibly the Saints are working on a deal with Alvin Kamara? Could that what the news be? His only quote, his only tweet was, "I got some news." And then he left it at that. What could that be? What do you think it is? Do you think Alvin Kamara's contract is coming around? The Saints are looking at possibly getting Kamara's contract done? Could that be it? What do you think that cryptic tweet that Alvin Kamara put out saying he's got some news? What do you guys think about that? You tell me. You let me know what you think. But that's the topics of discussions for this particular brand as we'll expand in. But man, it's real interesting, man, just to say the least, about what we've been seeing in the black and as far as black and gold talk. Also, I wanted to talk about the fact that, you know, not to make mention of, we talked about the season stuff, but the NFL, and I know we're going to go back, give me a second. I'm going to see if I can pull up that article because I must have clicked it off about the NFL and what we talked about the scheduling conflict dealing with the preseason and the fact that the NFL has not released really a specific guideline, sort of a kind of a book on what they're going to do about the COVID-19 situation. But the reality is, you know, they haven't released anything yet, but I'm hearing talks that they're supposed to be coming real soon, giving some information on what needs to be done. Are they cutting it? Of course, we heard about the fact that they have then said the first 8 rows of stadium seating has to be covered, and they've then approved that that measure where you can cover those seats with advertisement, big banners stretched out over the seats like you see in soccer matches across the world when you see big, huge banners on the seating advertising a product so they can make up some of the lost revenue. Like I said, they don't lose anything, you know, and that's how most good business people are, mischievous or not. They pass they pass it on to you. They don't believe in taking losses. They just simply write them off. All right, now about it. Now the NFL is promoting players to cover their masks. So we don't know. I remember some time ago they had a weird looking helmet, and we covered this on the previous show. And of course, people said that's not how it's going to look or whatnot. But you could basically see a helmet that'll be coming out like that. And I'm gonna show it to you on screen. I know a lot of y'all probably seen it before, but I'm gonna show it to y'all again. You know, and what it possibly could look like, what the helmet could possibly look like. You know, this is just possible. This is not what we thinking it's happening to be, but this is what it possibly could look like. Okay, as you can see it right here, and of course they said the COVID-19 series. Of course, somebody made that up, but if this is what we're facing. This is what it could actually resemble, something similar to this, some type of contraption where it blocks the eyes, and then there's some type of breathing apparatus or a filter device, a filter apparatus on the face mask, to filter what's being bred or what have you. This is something that could be put together. And now, of course, we saying that this helmet doesn't exist, but this is just a rendition to show you what it could really look like. You know, just an idea. You know, Tro said it could be a stormtrooper helmet, but this is what we're looking at when you're talking about playing sports under a pandemic. But as far as the information, just to address a question that Gundam threw out earlier before we got into the news, is the fact that based on all indications, the NFL is moving forward with the season, and it is supposed to release a set of guidelines coming up in the next several weeks of what player safety is supposed to look like, and also things are what's supposed to happen. So they are definitely going on with it. And my take, just to let you know, is the only way, and I said this before, the only way the season doesn't happen is if something occurs in the second leg of it, meaning you have a situation where there is a similar situation or worse to what happened a few months ago. Then you can see a complete stoppage of it once again. Now, some of the people that's been following this, that know about it, that were talking about it from 2016, you can look those people up. I won't get into it on the show because you know what I say. Nothing just merely happens, just happens. There is a cause and effect for everything. It's up to you to find out for yourself what it is. But anyway, that's the only way I think, and I'm speaking to the family members, including Gundam, is that the season don't happen is if there is a ridiculous amount of it spreading. The New Orleans Pelicans had 3 players that were tested, and it came down with it. They were then isolated, and then they're being treated and tested daily. So we understand that part of it and how life is for players plan under this situation. We also remember that Malcolm Jenkins said what he said, that he wasn't exactly comfortable playing under the situation and that we shouldn't do it because he deemed the football non-essential, which is a word I would not use. Thank you, Crash. Appreciate you, Crash. Thank you, family, for that, for your super chat. Much love to you and welcome to the show, my brother. Johnny Go 003, good to see you, fam. Thank you. He said, that ain't going to do no good. What about the locker room, practice tape rooms, workout rooms, whatever? That's true, bro. A lot of people going to test for it because, you know, it's a lot of information out there that some of the tests are not 100%. No test is 100%. That ain't nothing new. You know, and there's really no real, according to them, treatment for it. But if you're a herbalist type person or supplement type person who believe in whatever dealing with stuff and just getting it taken care of, then you would want to power your immune system and supplement yourself, drink water and do the things that power your immune system, because this is not going to be something that's going to go away. The next several years and more into the future, you're going to be dealing with not just this thing, but watch my words. You're going to have different things that's going to come out that's going to be called different other things that they're going to say tied to these things. And it's going to keep coming. Just telling you. How do I know that? Because there are books on it that was written 20 plus years ago that explain what's happening today. And I'm not just exclusively talking about the Bible. I'm talking about some other stuff. Just look it up, man. Anyway, thank the family member for chopping the live stream. Thank you for that question, though, Gundam. That's not a boring question. That's a very interesting question. And remember, this is ongoing as well. So we'll just have to figure it out as we go. But this is it's going to be interesting to say the least to observe professional sports under the banner of this type of environment. And you're absolutely right. You can't wear the damn helmet all the time in the locker room and all that kind of stuff. And then you might have to space them out. And I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll have an opportunity to watch it. So we'll see. Mark Dykes, who that to your family? Good to see you in the live stream as well. Who else chimed in? I've seen their name and I wanted to give them a shout out. Bishop One Love. Good to see you there, Bishop One Love. Blessings and family. One Love, Big Q. Who that to you? Bishop One Love as well. Much love to you as well. Good to see you in the chat. Now, we talked about the Alvin Kamara questioning tweet that came out. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think about that? What do you think about the Kamara tweet saying that, you know, he got some news? What could that mean? You know, is he sponsoring the NASCAR cat? Are the Saints and Kamara negotiating? You know, he just threw that out there and stopped just to kind of spur some stuff. And then, of course, everybody was like, what could it be? What do you think it is? Chime it in the chat, family. Let me know what you think it is. Okay? Let me know. I'll be interested to see what you guys think about that. All right, let's keep it going here. Scoop says the NFC South QB signed for 1.5. So sad. Let's see. Tramal says, I'm sorry, it jumped on me there, Tramal. Pelicans New Orleans is pulling out the money bag to Alvin Kamara. Paul says they give Darth Vader his helmet back. They'll be walking around sounding like old Vader. Hundreds of players will be sitting out until a vaccine is developed, says Crass. Some players will be tested positive, forcing the rest of the team to quarantine for weeks at a time. Can't see a 2020 season. You'll have some guys that'll test for it, and that's true. And like I said, the testing is not 100%, but then again, nothing is 100% in the medical field. We all know that. It all comes with a great degree of error, but it's a part of it is figuring it out. That's what error. You learn from your errors and your mistakes more so than you do from your successes. That's how, and many times we achieve success through the errors. So whatever mistakes you make, you realize, damn, I ain't doing that no more. That was a bad idea. And you don't do it anymore. You have an opposite effect, and then you have success. So it's the same thought process in the medical field or any other field that you chose to use. And that's the learning process, is that we still learning what this thing really is. And as every day goes along, more and more information is coming out about how what it is, what it really is, what it's really doing. And they have people that's in denial that says that's nothing out there. It's just this, that, and the third. No, I disagree. There is something out there. It is something out there. Don't fool yourself for one moment and think that it isn't and that they're just lying to you. No, there is something out there. It is. And there are several other things that's going along with it that they're slowly revealing. You just have to be on game, man, to understand what's going on. And that there's a component to it where it has an ability to be able to be wiped out and then it generates back, which is something that's unnatural. Nothing does that. Which points a question to a finger to another area is how was that able, as more people are starting to discover and find more out about this whole deal. You know, it is very much, and we will get through this and we're going to learn about it. I'll tell you what, we're going to learn about what it is and where it comes from. But let's keep it moving though, fam. Mr. Babak said the league is considering having fans sign liability waivers. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me from the NFL to do that. You come in here, you get it at your own risk. That's pretty much what the NFL saying. They won't take any liability on it. So I'm not surprised by that. Thank you for that, Mr. Boombastic. Let's see who else. The family. Caution. Who that to you? Caution. Tramal say I ain't taking no damn let me tell you something, man. Whether you believe in wearing a mask or not, man, you know, I don't know, man. It's just so much stuff because even the doctors that tell you what you're doing that for, you know, and doctors will tell you, you know, the purpose of why they do it. And, you know, and it's like, okay, we do it so when we having surgery, that what we have here don't get in the open wounds and cause an infection. But is it really helpful in terms of what's going on in this situation? And it is, and many people say it's not. This is just window dressing, it's staging. It's like, remember back in the day, and some of our older Great Saint Tank members remember that back in the day when you had what was going on with Cuba, with the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Russian and Cubans working together off the coast down here. And there was a great uncertainty and uneasiness that was going on. See, pay attention to history, man. Pay attention to history. History constantly repeats itself and it keeps teaching you lessons until you learn the lessons, then it stops. You break the chain. Remember that. Remember what happened back in the day with the Cuban Missile Crisis. If you're too young to remember that, get your ass in front of Google and pull your smartphone out that's supposed to make you smart and look it up. And remember what they were saying that you were supposed to do in the effect something happened, like if a bomb or something were to occur. What you supposed to do? If you was in the school, you're supposed to get up under your desk and cover your head like that. Now, what good is that going to do you if something like that jumping on you? But it was just something just to have you to do so that you can have some type of, some mindset of safety. So they was like, well, you're on your own. That would not help you that much. But it is what it is, man. Do your research and find out about it. Personally speaking, a lot of places are mandatory and you have to wear it. And whether you want to do it or not, some people are being forced to do it. So, but like I said, something is definitely out there. And I won't say something, I will say some things because I know it's more than one thing floating around out there under one name. Research. The OFL podcast says hashtag keep pounding. Good to see you, OFL. Thank you for joining the live stream, family. Thank you. Please hit the like button and join the Great Saint Think Tank. To all the people that's listening that are new, please hit the like button and also join the Great Saint Think Tank. Appreciate you, fam. Byron said, I think the Saints going to pay Kamara deal. Thank you, Byron. It could be, bro. You got $9 million there. They could definitely, it could be a situation where the Saints could be looking to do something. That could be positive. You know, we're looking at a situation where you have Kamara's possible contract. You're looking at the fact that there's still an ongoing discussion with Jadeveon Clowney, perhaps other free agents before the season starts. We have some time before it gets underway. So I think the Saints still have a few surprises up their sleeves. Mark Dice, who that to you? Mark says that's bull. Even in the doc's office, easy. Every other chair. Derek says, like Richard Pryor Daddy said, in which ways up? You can take the vax if you can shove it in. You old school, D. Which way is up? I remember that's one of my favorite old school ones there, man. Caution says watching the game in the French Quarter and surrounding areas won't be the same. I'm sure they'll limit the number of people that can be down there. Just to give you a little information, Caution, the fact that the city is thinking about banning cars traveling through French Quarter. Certain areas, they're talking about shutting streets down so it'll just be a walk area. So, you know, they're just trying to do something, man. You know, Brewman says here in Texas it's really bad. Yeah. I know, Brewman. What part of Texas you in, Brewman 91? Throw it in the chat, fam. Let me know what where you chiming in from. Derek says like and subscribe. Thank you, Derek. Please hit the like button, family. Cautious says if they don't want people in the stadium, they should live stream the crowds and reactions into the stadiums to support teams. I don't see a team getting hyped without crowd noise. That's a very interesting and very unique way. I've even seen some stadiums, soccer stadiums, put cardboard fans in the stands. Now, they were considering pumping music and crowd noise like the soccer games do, but the crowd noise don't go up for one team or another. It just stays the same all the way through. You just hear crowd noise, but don't see anybody, you know, but that would be interesting, but could be subject to corruption because if they're controlling the crowd noise, they could turn it, then we would be another scandal on them doing that. I just don't trust them people, man, when it comes down to stuff. It's almost like, did anybody, to my boxing people out there, or anybody following the Tyson Fury glove gate? Do anybody know about the glove gate? Chime that in the chat. Did anybody see the glove gate pictures? It's almost like when Tyson Fury came out with a statement yesterday, and we covered it on Ring Kings Boxing. I got quite animated too on it. If you want to listen to it, you can go and to Pro Radio and hear Ring King Boxing, or you can Google it. I mean, you can YouTube it in the search, put Ring Kings Boxing World and subscribe to the channel, or look in the description section below. The link is in there about the Ring Kings Boxing. The reason I bring that up is because Fury made mention he beat Deontay Wilder something bad early this year, beat him pretty bad, and there was yelling about foul play of him having his glove tampered with insofar as either padding was removed or the glove was massaged or compressed where you can make it easier for him, his wrap and his knuckles to punch through the glove. The glove is actually supposed to protect the hands from being broke or whatnot, but his glove in various pictures looked tampered with. It looked sunken in and stuff like that. So he said if anybody was down with it, it would have been this person. He named the Athletic Boxing Commission and all these other people. And in the podcast, I merely said to myself, I don't trust those people. Do you not understand how incredibly corrupt and just how corrupt the boxing athletic commissions are? How corrupt and greedy these people are? Huh? How do it's just, well, that they said this and it was all good. I'm like, man, cut that out. I say that to say because the same type of people will be then in control of the crowd noise in the Saints Stadium. Then you would say, okay, they turning it up for the other team, for the Falcons in the Saints building versus turning it down. It just gives them a little something, a little edge on the team. And we know based upon current situations, and you can even speak to last year of the cheatery that the NFL referees did to try to stop the Saints from winning these games. They were blatantly cheating. And then it gets to a point where the cheating becomes so blatant that it's an insult to your intelligence. It's an insult to your intelligence. Like, you really don't think, who you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? That type of deal. So I'm supposed to look through these and hear. And really, these matter, but this is the thing that, that's deciphering what's coming through these. So it's not about my eyes deceiving me, it's about whether or not this is. And if I can rationalize and interpret what I'm looking at logically, then I can pretty much decipher what's going on. And that's what happened last year in regular season, where the referees tried all they can to try to stop the Saints from winning because they were trying to play to bigger markets so they can make more money. While their handlers and people on television would not even bring up those facts. Then you really start seeing how truly controlled a Stephen A. Smith, a Max Kellerman, the PFF soft boys are, or some of these other supposed people how really controlled these mockingbird ass reporters are. Then that's what I said, man, I had to thank the Most High. I really did, for the fact that there's so many independent people who are doing stuff, to covering the sport. Because, man, if we left it to them, boy, do you not understand where we would be. Who that to you, Phoebe? Good to see Phoebe in the chat. Good to see you in the chat, Phoebe. Who that to you, baby? Much love to you as well. Thank you for joining us today in the chat. Let's see. Derek says, I'm in spring and I don't go. Mark says, they said in the beginning that the masks don't help. Anyway, the truth is you can research it for yourself. And this is not really a secret. The doctors are telling you that, they can't. And they actually turn out to be more harmful than good, because really you're breathing in oxygen. You're supposed to be breathing out carbon dioxide, and you're keeping the carbon in you, which is going to force you to get even sicker. But they're telling you that. I just don't understand. But see, that's why it says, that they got you. You just can't be somebody that's out here that truly believes that you have no connection to nobody else, that you have no connection to a greater or a source energy. A lot of the good folks call them a God. Many people got names for the creator. But there is a source energy for people not as astute in spiritual matters to understand that when you plug into source energy, you get revitalized. And that's not just energy per se. That's knowledge. Knowledge could be interpreted as energy to empower you. It's an empowering force when you connect in. But I really feel sorry for people who don't understand that principle, because you create your own disasters, your own stuff out of your own mind when you do not link into that source energy, because there are a lot of sinister and disagreeable forces here that are going to guide you to the edge of that cliff, into that volcano. And you can't blame them for doing that at the end of the day. You have your own mind that you need to follow. And it is not a universal crime. And I'm speaking about the universal principles here. There's not universal crime if they let you off that volcano, you fall in there and you expire. That was based upon you. You have a mind and you need to use it. You can't allow people to people to take possession of your mind. The mind has to be used by you, and if it's not used by you, it has the right to be used by somebody else. It is something that must always be in practice. That is very fundamental. That's why some of the people that control this reality that we live in create a whole nother reality for us to live in, so we don't get in their way. But once you become aware of the thinking mechanisms, break out of it, then you become a competitor. A competitor insofar as that you begin to make your own reality. And that's why you see so many other people achieve great heights in this world, while so few do. Because they don't buy into the programming. Elevate, empower, rise, shake, break out of it. And that's that real shit, man. Pardon my French. It's not, I talk real like this, family. You got to pardon me. This is for people who don't really know, who come into this. I'm not just a guy that talk. I'm a Saints fan through and through, but I'm a human that love humans. I'm going to keep it real with you. And I love empowerment, man. I talk big about my Saints, and I talk big about empowering people, and I believe in people. I really do. I believe in people. And I think for all this stuff that's going on, do you not understand how much stuff you really dealing with? You worried about this little old stuff here. And I ain't trying to downsize it, but I'm saying there is nothing that can exist in your body without your permission. When you open your mouth and say powerful things and command the cells of your body to mobilize against the enemy within you, sounds kind of strange, but true. How else do a general command its troops? If a general stands before his armies and doesn't say anything, what does the army do? Nothing. If a general commands his army to mobilize and move out against his people, what do the army do? They follow orders. Remember that. Remember what I'm telling you. Nothing has the ability or the right to exist within your body without your permission. That is your temple. The moment when you say you're not allowed to be here, it disappears. The body rids itself of it. That's old wisdom, old knowledge that the old people were taught. That's something my grandma told me when I was a kid. She always told me that. She said, there's nothing that your temple is your body. There's nothing that can exist in your body without your permission. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. But who that to the family members chiming in the live stream? Let's keep it going here. Phobia, who that to you, Phobia once again. Troll says they removed the first and last preseason game. Yeah, we covered that, family. Derek says Mike Tyson wanted them to back up the Brinks truck. Yeah, I seen that. Who that to you, Dada? Much love to you. See you cautious. I was looking forward to see what Jameis is going to do. I think Jameis Winston is going to be an interesting part. A lot of people, including myself, didn't like Jameis Winston signing with the Saints, and that's because of his dysfunction. But shame on me for not having more faith in my locker room. And my locker room can take things and make them positive. That's what a good locker room do. And they're going to do the same thing for Jameis Winston. He will exist in that locker room or he will be expelled from it. That's just what it is. And the thing about it is once you get a taste of what New Orleans Saints culture is, you can't get enough of it, baby. That's the bottom line. And most of the times, only reason people leave is because they're getting a real big payday or the team did them wrong some kind of way. Teddy Bridgewater didn't want to go anyway. Sean Payton broke his trust with him when he handled him wrong early on and then tried to go back to him, and then he went to Carolina. Teddy Bridgewater didn't want to leave. Sean Payton did him wrong, and I covered that in several different shows, few dozen shows, to be honest with you. You can go back in the catalog and look them up. Let's see. Cautious says Fury cheated, took the padding out of his glove. He needs to be banned from boxing. The cold part about it is the WBC, who the belt he took off of Wilder, their president, Suleiman, came out and said he's in full support of Tyson Fury. Usually when you look at the pictures, it would have been just enough to investigate it. You'd call for an investigation. But no investigation outright. That's why I despise a lot of the boxing. That's why on my show I hammer it. You might have to cover your ears when you listen to Ring King Boxing, because I go to war at them because I despise the corruption and the disagreeableness in how they operate. But it's a mass movement to move Fury into into unification of the crown, and they're ignoring a lot of his scandals. He had several scandals. This was Glovegate 2.0. This is the second one. The first one, he had the glove flopping on his hands. There's pictures of that with the glove flopping on his hands. They didn't stop him then. Deontay Wilder's brother came out with a statement last week saying that his brother, Deontay Wilder, had dents in the side of his face from being hit. That's a safety concern. Do they care about that? They didn't investigate that. Didn't look at it. They say they keep the gloves, but don't want to show you the gloves. And then another thing that Tyson Fury should be banned from the sport of boxing is because him and his team was caught back in 2015. He was caught tested dirty, and he blamed it on pork, on the wild boar meat that he ate. But the problem was he and his team. Now this came out, they investigated and found it out that he was trying to pay the farmer $30-something thousand to lie for him, and the farmer agreed to do it. The only problem is his corrupt ass team didn't pay the farmer. The farmer came out and blew the whistle on him. How stupid are you? So you do all this back stuff and then get up there and then don't pay the farmer. You double cross the farmer. You ain't give him his money. And the farmer say, "Oh yeah, well I'm just gonna tell on you," and that's what he did. Still boxing. That's why I say it's just ridiculous. But Deontay Wilder has an opportunity to make it right later on this year. If the fight game returns with him, he'll just have to smash Tyson Fury's ass into 1,000 pieces and break the whole little plan up. And it's weird how the universe got a way of coming around. We're just going to pay attention to it. Thank you. Good to see so many fight fans in here, though. Feel free to join the Ring King Boxing World family via YouTube. Cautious says, did anybody know if there will be a preseason or not? I'm itching for some football. I'm tired of watching highlights from last year. We just read an article saying that 2 of the preseason games will be broadcasted. The NFL's moving on. They're going to have a test protocol, same as the NBA, although they're not going to be in a bubble. According to various reports, the NBA, and I'm using NBA because it could be very well a same comparative motion where you have the things that the NBA is doing that the NFL will have to do. And the NBA is going to spend $150 million just to have 22 teams to compete in a bubble in Orlando, Florida. It'll be interesting. Now, how would that look? Would they wear stuff on their face and all that kind of stuff? Who knows, man? Who knows? But, like Layla Ali, remember I was watching what she was saying, and they're holistic. They know what to do. This ain't nothing new, family. Let's keep it going. Troll Blue, it says they removed the first and last preseason games O-line going to suffer. Cautious. I was looking forward to see what Jameis is going to do. We covered that. I think Jameis Winston will be fine as a backup. And a lot of people saying who's better between him and Taysom Hill or any of these guys. Jameis Winston has been playing football as a quarterback since 2013. He's been a first-string quarterback for a long time, even though he had 5 years of NFL play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had an unstable line there in Tampa Bay. They kept switching coaches. It was just absolutely regardless. But it was never the type of environment that he'll have in New Orleans, where you have a stable offensive line and a very worthwhile offensive system. That is totally something that he's never had. So, I mean, in the pros anyway, but I still have, looking at Jameis, the issue's not talent with Jameis Winston. I've always said that. Is his maturity. Now, he's gotten married. Another key thing he spoke about is the fact that he had surgery, I heard, to improve his vision. So that could help out as well. Plus, he'll be tutored by one of his close football friends, which is Drew Brees. So that's all positives. Anything else is just guesswork, man, to keep it real with you. If I had a crystal ball to tell you this, man, I'd be sitting up here as a multi-billionaire. The truth of the matter is we don't really know, but the environment for success is there. I know that for certain, that the environment of success is there. Whether he'll grow in it, that's yet to be determined. But hopefully, thinking positively and optimistically, if Teddy Bridgewater reaped the benefits of it, so can a willing Jameis Winston. Thank you. But Phoebe says Buccaneers trying to get Antonio Brown. They already got more weapons. I did hear reports that they're trying to add Antonio Brown to the mixture. I think they should get him, because I think what end up happening is they're going to have hell, because you already got two starting caliber wide receivers. You think Antonio Brown gonna come in there to be a third wide receiver? Antonio Brown don't play that. He gonna be a starter or anything. So go ahead and add him to your team if you wanted to be destroyed. I say Buccaneers, go for it. All right, let's see. Cautious says if they sign Brown, I'm sure he won't have to answer those charges that were made. But if it was any other team, he'd be on restriction until it's resolved. Thank you for that. Braden, who that to you, Braden? Thank you for joining us. He said, do you think Eric McCoy will do well at right guard? He's graded very well as a center, but being a guard is harder. Well, I'm pretty sure that you have some points on that, Braden Long. Who that to you? Thank you for the question, fam. Please subscribe if you're not one. But let's approach it from a different frame of thought. As a guard, as a center, if you could play center has a lot more responsibilities than a guard, correct? Right? The center, he has that center to quarterback connection that he has to get right? Most of the time, the center is the guy that has much of the command of the offensive line, right? So knowing this, there's several different things that the center do that the guard don't have to do. So if you're intelligent enough to play the center position, and McCoy did it damn well with the Saints last year, I would have to say that he has the ability to play the guard position as well. And I would even say that it'll be a seamless shift to the guard position for McCoy. Super intelligent, super athletic, and I love what he brings, and I think it'll be a good move. But Ruiz at center, to me, the guy is a born center. How he moves, just if you watch his footage, he's a natural born center. The Saints seen it and say, man, McCoy is something else, but look at this dude. But McCoy is good enough to then span and play that right guard position next to Ryan Ramczyk. And I'll be honest with you, I think he'll do exceptionally well next year. Barring anything, any injury or any stoppage in the season, I think McCoy will be excellent. He'll be lights out for the Saints at the right guard position. Thank you for that, Braden. Who that to you? Let's see. Derek says the NFL conspiracy. Sufian says add another diva to their locker room. Let them have it. I agree with you. I said let them put them on there if you want your team to be destroyed. Put them on there. You already got two starters right there. That's already entrenched. Go ahead and add Antonio Brown there and see how I tear it up for you. All right, Slick Rick, what up, Slick Rick? Good to see you in the chat as well. Let's see, Slick Rick says nothing much. Phobia says Jameis is better than Teddy. I understand the guy throws 30 interceptions, but wasn't his fault. It was all on Bruce Arians. Most of those was Jameis Winston's issues. It was, but you're true. The head coach has to be able to kind of get the guy to see certain things. Now, Bruce Arians had with Winston for a year or two. He had him. It was okay, but I just think that it depends. It's more than just Jameis. That the offensive line wasn't all that. I mean, they had issues with the running back situation, and Jameis Winston was trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to force feed things, trying to win games for him. He's trying to really step up and do some things. A lot of them was pretty bad throws. Some of them wasn't his fault. You're right. You're absolutely right on that. I just don't think that type of mentality, I think the Saints will help him with that. I think Sean Payton could be able to help him with that. I think Drew Brees especially can help him with that because he never had that kind of the thing that's different about the situation is that Winston comes here. He's at a backup. He's not had to deal with that before. So that's a humbling experience. He's a backup to a Hall of Famer in Drew Brees. He will learn from Drew by holding that clipboard. He'll also learn the Saints offense as well. And I'm saying that Teddy Bridgewater and Jameis Winston can have the same growth process. Only thing Jameis has to do is he has to be able to take it serious and be mature about it. He's gotten married. He's been talking the right talk. He understands. Then another thing is people realize if Jameis Winston fails here, that it's over for him in terms of looking at him as a starter. Then it's a lot of people feel that. He had 5 years in Tampa Bay. They was ready to give up on him in 4 years. But this time he came here and took the less money because he understands what his role is in terms of if he fails, then it could be a really difficult situation. So Jameis understands that learning behind somebody like Drew and playing for the Saints offensive line is something that can really be a positive. So I have to say that he has the arm. He can make all the throws. He just needs a few tweaks here and there with his character, his work ethic. You can see working his ass off. But the other part is this, the mental aspect of it, the preparation and all this kind of his stuff. If Drew helps him with organizing that, I think that he'll get that key. He's not that far off. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm not a Jameis Winston basher like a lot of people are. I think the kid has potential. It's just that he had to be in the right situation for it to show itself, and the Saints could very well be that situation. Thank you for that. Okay, appreciate that, Phoebe. Sports Talk 365, who that to you? Sport Talk, good to see you in the chat, fam. He says, it's been reported that the NFL Players Association has not signed off on the league cutting down the preseason to 2 games. Some union members are questioning whether to play preseason games at all. Yes. That's a good part of it. The NFL could make rules, and then a lot of this has to be passed through the NFLPA. You're right, Sport Talk. And you cut them down to 2. Why not cut them out totally? You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people still want to be able to have at least a couple of games so you can have some contact on the field so people can kind of get used to it, being that the training camps, the mini camps, all that, a lot of the off-season stuff, the OTAs, all that stuff has been severely hampered with the no contact rules, all this kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to see how it works, but this is a story that's still ongoing and developing. Thank you for that news, Sport Talk. Superstar Louisiana boy, who that to you? Good to see you in the chat, fam. Troll says, McCoy, I love him, but sometimes McCoy was the last one off the line. Thank you. Braden says, I agree with you. I'm just saying McCoy will have a lot more one-on-ones this year. No, I'm with you on that, Braden. You're absolutely right, fam. He will. He will have a lot of one-on-ones as opposed to him helping out people, stuff like that. You're right. And I think he'll be able to I think McCoy will be able to handle that. Big guy, he can play the position. They call him like the big offensive lineman that can move. They call them dancing bears. That's the top of the little social, the scout guys, the player scouts, little terms. They call him a dancing bear. Well, McCoy is definitely a dancing bear. He got good feet, big hands, and he can move. So, I agree with you. I think he definitely has more one-on-ones. I think he'll do fine. Thank you. Let's see. Iceman says, hell no, I don't trust the secondary with or without Malcolm. Facts. Phobia says, Mike Evans and Chris Goodwin and A.B. Gronkowski, that bad offense. It sounds good on paper. It's just Antonio Brown got a way of screwing up everything. Dada says, really been enjoying Jameis Winston's workouts on IG. I have too. He's been doing a lot of stuff, wearing the Saints stuff with the baseball bat, a lot of unique looking stuff that he's doing. I enjoy him working out with like I said, it's That's the physical aspect of it's not the issue. It's the mental aspect for him. And we just have to monitor his process. But his growth here, I think he can make it, because I believe in the locker room. Pelicans Nola says, can the Saints change their helmet to black for the first game against the Buccaneers? They have a blackout game to support Black Lives Matter. I don't know. I don't know if they'd be able to do the rules on the helmets and whatnot. I don't know if they could be able to do that, Pelicans Nola. Good question. I just don't know the rule on that or whether or not they could be able to do that, bro. Thank you. Iceman says, man, everybody been saying he had potential since he was drafted. I'm worried about Jameis will get better, but when he under pressure, he will revert back to his old ways. That's the issue. The issue is, what's the correct way when you're under pressure? What do? Do you force throws in a tight window or whatnot? Or do I still think that he can change some of the things that he do. He's not an old dog, new trick type of thing. This dude's he's just 26 years old. He in the prime of his career, he got a lot of stuff. He got a willing soul. He wouldn't be a willing spirit to learn, or he wouldn't be. He wouldn't have took $1.1 million to come to the Saints. They had people trying to give him twice that much to be a backup. He took the job because he realized something missing in his game, and he can get it from New Orleans. How did he know that? Because Teddy Bridgewater told him that. Teddy Bridgewater gave him the insights like, okay, why would Jameis Winston sign? Remember, we played this. I played this on the show. Even covered the article. What he said, the reason, a large majority of the decision-making process for Winston to come to New Orleans because he had a conversation with one Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater told Jameis Winston of the progresses that he made as a quarterback by being in the New Orleans Saints quarterback room and learning from Drew and Sean Payton and the rest of the coaches. That spurred Jameis Winston to come aboard. A lot of people don't know that. Well, I'm referring it and relaying it to the Great Saint Think Tank is that's what happened. Why else would you take $1.1 million to play for your division rival if you'd have made twice the money in another destination? Because it's more than just money for Jameis Winston. He recognizes a flaw in his game, and he feels New Orleans is the key to fixing it. And I think you're right. I'm just gonna put it to you. If Bridgewater can do it, why the hell not for Jameis Winston? And he's willing to. All right, Phobia says Bruce Arians is not a good coach. He want the ball be throwing all over the field. He never run the ball like that. He used Brady the same way. I ain't gonna say he's not a good coach. Bruce Arians to me is one of the top 15 good coaches in the NFL. No doubt about it. If you look at Bruce Arians, when he came from Pittsburgh, what he did there, what he did with Arizona, he does have flaws in his game. I wouldn't say he's a bad coach though. But Jameis Winston was a guy that he just need to change the scenery, I think. He been there too long. He had several different coaches. And the message, and sometimes you're like, man, we going to work with this dude. We're going to work with this dude. And eventually, it gets to a point where, you got to say, let's move on. Well, Tom Brady decided to come in to Tampa Bay. They gave him everything he wanted. It wasn't the fact that it was a premier destination for him. They gave him everything. Tom Brady wanted the money that they gave him. He wanted general manager duties to bring in players that he wanted. That they gave him that. And he also wanted control over the playbook. They gave him that. Only 2 teams was willing to do that. And Tampa Bay gave Tom Brady all 3 of the things he wanted. So as far as Bruce Arians and Tom Brady concerned in the playbook, Tom Brady is going to have a lot of power to put into plays that he had success with in New England and incorporate those plays in Tampa Bay. Remember, he's there for 2 years, and they're going to probably acquiesce as much as they can to Tom Brady's scheme in Tampa Bay that he's comfortable with. So we'll just see how it plays. But still, the offensive line still needs work, and we can get to him. Unless you built a wall up front, we're going to get to him back there. And that's all I'm concerned about. But I wouldn't agree, Phobia, that he's a bad coach. I think that Bruce Arians is a good coach. He's a top 15 coach, in my opinion. And he's had a lot of success everywhere. It's just, man, when you're in Tampa, you have to change it's like, remember what Sean Payton did? People don't realize what Sean Payton did in New Orleans to change the losing culture. They had really good coaches like Jim Mora that came and could not sustain winning in New Orleans. And even when Sean Payton came, remember, he had problems. The Saints win, and then they bottom out for 3 straight years, 7-9, 3 straight years before they went into double-digit winning seasons. Do we remember that? Well, what happened? Sean Payton know that he had to change a lot of stuff. That's why I give, well, Coach Payton's a lot smarter than people realize. It's not just football. If you're a smart person in life, that'll translate into other avenues of life. Like if you're a good, smart person in life, it'll translate to football, where your smartness will go into football. Your smartness will go into this. Your smartness, because those attributes will travel in whatever topic you are studying upon or whatever you're looking at. Sean Payton changed the culture in New Orleans, not just by the drafting and bringing in good coaches. That was, one thing, but it was also a spiritual component to it. Payton did several voodoo rituals, whether he believed it or not. He called a voodoo priestess to the Superdome. Most people probably don't remember this. If you don't remember, it said in trap. I don't remember that, Q. And some of our older Saints family members, or should I say experienced Saints family members, will educate your ass. That dude brought in a voodoo priestess for several different periods of times that hold rituals in the Superdome. Now, he probably didn't believe in that, but the mere fact that he did it was to espouse or destroy whatever dead or disagreeable forces was there that was aiding in the negative environment that was contributing to the Saints losing, or the mindset of losing. He did that, then did all the other stuff on top of it that ultimately you start getting success. Now, people don't even remember those losing times. The Saints are viewed as a team that is a perennial Super Bowl threat. That is never before in the history of the team. Even when the Saints were winning games in the Super Bowl year they were going there, there were detractors saying that the Saints wasn't going to get there. There was detractors until you got it. Then the next year you were picked, and then of course all that other stuff happened. Then you fell off, and then after that there was a lull, and then you came back. But you are most certainly in the golden age of Saints football right now. You better enjoy it. You better enjoy it. This is the golden age of Saints football, because we talk to the historian like Paul and other people that know about the culture of the team like myself. I can tell you off top, this is the golden age of football as far as being a Saints fan is concerned. I'm keeping it real with you, baby. Remember, some people refer to the Great Saint Think Tank as football church. But what I like to accurately call us is edutainment. Saints edutainment, baby. Educating and entertaining at the same time. Mr. Boombastic says 626 pass attempts. Jameis has 626 pass attempts. Did they call any runs? He has averaged about 60% completion rate his whole career. I'm not sure if that number will change or not. Thank you, Mr. Boombastic, for those facts. Phoebe says he gonna use Brady the same way. Well, we'll see. We'll see, Phoebe. If he does, then that's power to us, because we're gonna kick their butts. Iceman says we don't have anybody who can guard AB. I mean, he scored 2 touchdowns on Lattimore. He's our best corner. Remember, Lattimore's going to get better, Iceman. And don't think for a second because he toasted, Antonio Brown toasted a lot of cornerbacks. He toasted, that's what greatness is. But you have Marshawn Lattimore, who's really good. He's not great yet, but he's really good. But you don't get great until you take on great players like AB. And AB, when he was at the top of his game, he was great. He wasn't tall, he wasn't super fast, but he was good at everything. He knew how to pay attention to the ball at the last moment. He was an excellent catcher of the ball. He was a master route runner. He was, as far as a wide receiver on the field goes, Antonio Brown is a beast on top of his game. And that's what Marshawn Lattimore seen. Marshawn Lattimore seen greatness. And guess what? When you're really good and you're going against great, guess who's going to win? Great's going to beat really good all the time, bro. Marshawn Lattimore is, when he got toasted by AB, he got better and better because that knocked your ass off. That knock off you to cover you the shutdown man. But he did it good with Evans, shut Evans down, and several other wide receivers. But Antonio Brown's on another level, you see. But that's a part of becoming great. You don't become great until you guard the great guys and take them out of it. Until you learn what they're doing and how you can adjust to it. Then you get to that level, is what I'm saying. You know. All right, let's keep it going here. Thank you for that, Iceman. He said, it's bad that we still have questions about Marcus Williams. Well, he did it to himself, bro. His play, his numbers are there, but it's just at the wrong time. He represents too many negative moments in my mind as a Saint player, and we can't have that as a safety. Last line of defense behaving that way, taking bad angles. We'll see. Maybe Malcolm Jenkins can help him with that. I think so. Mr. Boombastic say, I like Chase Daniels too. Saints develop QBs well. Thank you. Phoebe says, we know Jack Rabbit going to have Chris Goodwin crying like he did Stephon. All right. Okay. Let's see who else we got. Thank you for that, Phoebe. Terrell, what up, Terrell? Who that to you, Terrell? Good to see you in the live stream, my brother. SC Iceman, if Jameis can turn around, why not AB? There you go. Well, it's different. It's environment. I don't know what kind of environment Tampa Bay got there. I can't speak for their team. I don't know about their locker room. I know about the black and gold locker room. And I know that if you bring somebody in the black and gold locker room, usually they acquiesce to what's going on because they fall in love with the culture. Phoebe says, so you think the Buccaneers going 13-3? I don't think they're going 13-3. I don't think they're going to have 2 13-3 teams in the NFC South. No doubt about it. I mean, anything possible. But I don't see them out pushing past us. They got to learn. They got a lot to learn as opposed to us. We got plug and play players and we got our little lumps and bruises too. But I got to say, on paper, we look good. We've been tested. We had a lot of stuff thrown upon us. We just got to see how it all shake out, man. You know, we just got to see how it all shake out. I don't think they're a 13-3 team, in my opinion. That's just me. I think the Saints handle business against them. I'm just going to be honest with you. When you're talking about team to team, the Saints team on team versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team I think my team is better than their team based upon the talent we have, the entrenched stability of what we've been doing over the years. I just say we are a better team. Not so much it's amusing to get into the Tom Brady versus Drew Brees, but it's about team play. And our team is better than their team. My opinion. Who that? Demi, who that to you? Demi, Iceman says, do you think Traquan will get cut? Could be. Traquan Smith is in trouble this year if he don't show up. The issue is the problem with, and we talked about this, we covered this on the TSC Q&A show last night. We had a 3-hour stream last night. I encourage everybody to join the TSC Q&A. Become a member, YouTube member, or join the Patreon so you can access that show. You can show up there. Because we had some good discussions, man, on the show last night, 3 hours. And we covered a number of topics. And we talked about Traquan Smith. We made mention of, because I was covering an article about Traquan Smith and who should be the third wide receiver for the Saints. The article was saying that the third wide receiver, they threw Deontay Harris in there, and I shot that down. I said, no, Deontay Harris is not going to be the third wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints because his value is that of a returner. You don't want to take a Pro Bowl returner off your special teams and put him as your third wide receiver. That's ridiculous. That is, his value is the return. And now I'm not against him being used in a utility fashion to come in on a few offensive plays where he goes an end around. He comes in as a running back and gets a toss or a sweep play. He lines up sometimes in the slot or outside when, let's say, Emmanuel Sanders lines up in the slot and they shoot Deontay Harris outside and he takes a deep route while Sanders plays. I'm not against that. But in terms of value of who Deontay Harris is, he's a kick returner, punt returner. That's where his value is in the special team room. So you don't want a part-time player there. So what would be the answer at the third wide receiver position? Of course, Traquan Smith, according to the roster reports, is indicated as the third wide receiver. Obviously, he's sitting that position behind Sanders and Thomas. Saints have, Sean Payton still has a lot of confidence in Traquan Smith, more so than I have or you have, obviously. But Traquan Smith, to me, is not going to win that job unless he can display the ability to play inside. Traquan Smith, if you look at his tape, if you don't believe me, go look up his tape from college. He was averaging almost 20 yards per catch in college. Why? Because the majority of the plays, they were using him as an outside route runner. When it comes to him being put on the inside, he does not excel in that. Why? Because he's not ready for that life. Traquan Smith is not that man. You can't do that to him. And the Saints offense, and I keep saying this, is positionless football. Get used to that term and remember where it came from, because you're going to be hearing a lot of them start using it because that's what they do. A lot of the reporters listen to the show. Next thing you know, 2 or 3 days down the line, they got articles about it. So if you hear it, just know, man. Anyway, all I can say about it is I think Traquan Smith, what he exhibited as a New Orleans Saints player, the Saints positionless football motto is that my wide receivers has to play inside and out. Regardless, if you're a wide receiver for the Saints in offense, you're going to have to learn to play outside and inside as a wide receiver. You're going to have to play outside and play in the slot occasionally. It calls for versatility. Traquan Smith can't do that, man. That is not his game. He is not a dual wide receiver threat where he can play inside. He cannot take the hits. He took a hit in the face and dude busted him in his face, knocked his helmet off, busted his lip. You remember that? He caught the pass. I was so shocked by the fact that Traquan caught the ball. That became one of my favorite plays for him. But he is not that man. He's not a interior wide receiver. He does not do that. He doesn't do it well. Now, he would have to change that and learn how to play inside, because you running around there against the safeties and them big old linebackers. You running where they live at. And I just don't see it in him. Now, Keith Kirkwood, I seen Keith Kirkwood. He knew how to do it. Kirkwood had the body for it. You can see guys like Austin Carr who's comfortable, because Austin knows how to go run inside, find an area, sit on it, get the catch. Then if he got a good instinctual feel to know when there's somebody beating down on you. And a lot of people don't have that ability. They haven't mastered it. And some people might think it's kind of movie going, but Bruce Lee wrote a book about it, and I've referenced this book several times. I had this book before Katrina took it away from me. It was a book that he wrote when he was hurt from a stunt that he did. I think he broke his leg or something like that, and he wrote a book while he was in his hospital bed. Y'all feel free to look up that Bruce Lee book and put it in your collection. But he spoke about in that book about the reason why so many athletes are having tears in their muscles is because they're not properly stretching. They're not giving enough time to stretching and warming up the body before they get into doing activities. He spoke about that. And he put a high number to like 60 or 70% of athletes' muscle tear injuries is because of poor stretching. You got to stretch for a while. Why are you stretching for 15 minutes if you're going to go 3 hours worth of physical work? That don't make no sense. You got to put in the proper amount of time, according to Bruce Lee, who is pretty fantastic in his own right and as athletic as one could be. In that book, he also spoke about having a field around you, and knew when he was in movies, he instinctually knew how to block. And many people's like, okay, they slowed it down. No, they said Bruce Lee was so fast that they would have to retake and reshoot certain moves because the camera wouldn't catch it. He had to slow it down. He spoke about in the book the fact that he had a field that he would meditate, that he meditated, and had an aura field around him. He spoke about this in the book. And he said the aura field was positive because he knew when people would enter his field around him, he could sense them there. He knew they were there. It's like having a second sense of knowing people around. It's like that's not no different than you walking down a dark street somewhere, or you walking somewhere and you feel somebody walking behind you, like, I don't know, it's something you don't feel right. You turn around, they got somebody walking too close to you. Then you slow down or back up out the way so they can walk ahead of you. Or you might just be walking down the street and feel eerie and feel like somebody watching you. You turn to the right and they got somebody over there looking at you. It's the same stuff. And that's what he was talking about. The reason why I bring that up now is because most wide receivers that play in the slot have that extra perception. They have that ability to feel whether somebody is around them and know what to do about it. Do you know what they call it in the league? If you're a quarterback, they call it pocket presence. To know when to feel the pocket. What that means is that you have that field around you and you're sensitive to it, and you can feel when somebody enters that energy field and you know what you need to do. You need to then turn. The movies call it Spidey sense. You got different terms for it, but it's the same damn thing. And the reason I bring all that around edutainment, remember? The reason I bring it all up is because Traquan Smith doesn't have that ability inside. Austin Carr does, and several other Saint wide receivers have that extra spidey sense, so to speak, to know when impending danger is in their area. Austin Carr, if you watch the footage, he has the ability to find the holes. He sits down and makes the catch, and he knows whether somebody's coming. He'll just get down on the ground, or he knows that whether he can scamper around and get an extra 2 or 3 yards. Watch him. And they have several Saints people that know to do the same thing. I'm just telling you. It might sound different, but different people use different words for it. Man, that was a long way around that topic, but it's fun. Iceman says Deontay Harris is like 5 feet. His injury concern moving forward because of his small frame, and the Saints return team have blocking gaps. I think they'll end up fixing that, Iceman. But as far as the Traquan Smith situation, will he be cut? I just feel the instrument, and I say all that, and I went around it to say that Traquan has to develop certain senses to play in the slot. That's why I said all that shit. I said that to say that he has to develop those type of talents to play in a slot. That's why he's not a good slot man. Because if you were a good slot man, you understand that and you prepare yourself for it. Now, who is the guy that's a threat for the slot position? And we said this, I've covered this. The guy that's good at the slot that could play the position is Ty Montgomery, your third running back. Why? Because he's actually a wide receiver. The Packers converted him to a running back that year because most of their running backs was hurt. He just stayed there. He found a skill set and he decided to stay there. But he's physical. He's tough. He has some speed. He's not super fast. He could block. He's a do-it-all type of guy. And I think he's probably, as far as experience and age perspective, probably your most accomplished person you would look at. Now, of course, there's LaJordan Humphrey. That'll fit well right there. If you're looking for a possession guy who could play the slot, who's good yard after catch man, he would fit well as there. But anyway, the pressure's on Traquan Smith unlike ever before. Can he develop that duality to be able to not only play outside, because we know he can do that, but can he also develop the ability to play inside within this time frame? Not to mention he'll be dealing with the pressure of the fans, the coaches, and the competition aspect with so many talented wide receivers like Marquez Callaway, Maurice Harris, Ty Montgomery, Taysom Hill. You have so many players that are not wide receivers, positionless football, who will pose a problem to Traquan Smith's wide receiver position this year. Is that a surprise? No. Did that happen last year? Yes. Who took his snaps last year? Taysom Hill. Is Taysom Hill a wide receiver? No. What is Taysom Hill? He's a quarterback, they say. But Taysom Hill took Traquan Smith snaps. How many times did you hear me saying that? And it's not because if Traquan Smith was stepping up and doing what the hell he was supposed to do, there would be no need for Taysom Hill there. The reason Taysom Hill is there is because Sean Payton likes the impactfulness, the energy, the excitement that Taysom brings to the offense. If Traquan Smith was doing that, he could keep Taysom Hill at bay. But the fact of the matter is that Taysom is a quarterback, you actually utility man, that's playing a wide receiver position impacts Traquan Smith snaps. Not to mention Traquan doesn't play too much on special teams. Ty Montgomery does. So there's several options, including Adam Troutman and other people that can play in the slot that can fill in at the wide receiver position who have some upside. Traquan Smith in trouble this year. He's in trouble. Thank you, Iceman, for that. Let's see. Troll says, with you emphasize on Deontay Harris' value, does Emmanuel Sanders not open the door to the possibility? I don't see Deontay Harris playing anything but kick return in a serious role. Now, from a utility perspective, yes, but what does utility mean? Part-time. I mean, you ain't a full-time job. It ain't it's a part-time job. What is it? Okay, if it's a utility and he's a part-time job, then what is his full-time job? His full-time job is kick returner, punt returner. He said he's a Pro Bowler. That the Saints didn't draft. I mean, they didn't draft him, but the Saints didn't sign Deontay Harris to come on his team and play wide receiver for him. They brought Deontay Harris on this team to solve the kick return and punt return issues they've been having for years. Why? How do you know that, Q? Because if you go and research Deontay Harris's, if you look up Deontay Harris's track record, he was one of the greatest kick returners and punt returners in the history of college. Who says, oh, that man there is the greatest kick return and punt return in the history of college? Let's sign him and bring him in as a wide receiver. No, man. His value is in his greatest value. Not saying that he doesn't bring some interest or some help to the wide receiver position, because he will not only play wide receiver, he'll play some snaps at wide receiver and some snaps at running back because of his speed. I'll give you that. But as far as him as his main time job, he's a kick return and punt returner. He was a Pro Bowler there last year. The Saints will not move him out of that role to play wide receiver. That's just not. And plus, they have other wide receivers who can come in and play. There's guys, a lot of people talk about Harris, Deontay Harris, but if anybody, any Harris that has an opportunity to fill in at the third wide receiver and takes Traquan Smith's position, it is Maurice Harris, not Deontay Harris. Many people don't know about Maurice Harris. Google him. Find out about him. 6'2", 200 pounds, very fast, can't catch the ball. Problem was injury last year, and he didn't have an extended role with the Washington Redskins, who had him. 2 or 3 year veteran out of California. Not a lot of great stuff to say about him in college, statistically speaking, but big wide receiver, fast, can catch, and wait for it, can play special teams. He also kick return, punt return for the Redskins when he played for them. So the Saints picked him up early this year. So if anybody has an opportunity to take Traquan Smith's job, it's Harris. Marquez Callaway is similar to Maurice Harris. He's a 6'2", 200-pound wide receiver who kick return, punt return out of University of Tennessee, who averaged 17 or 18, something like that. I think it's higher than that. 18 plus yards per catch, is an excellent catcher of the ball in contested traffic. Watch out for those guys, because that is the type of people that you want playing in your slot. Whoever going to play the slot, he got to be tough as hell, because he got to be taking on them linebackers and safeties. He running around in there in difficult territory. So he can't be scared. He can't be tiptoeing to the tulips like Traquan Smith was doing the last couple of years. I'm just keeping it real. But no, Tro, I can't co-sign on him being a full-time wide receiver at the position. It's just, that's not feasible. It makes no sense to remove him out of that role and put him as a wide receiver when he's a Pro Bowler. And they have not, it's not like you had a series of Pro Bowlers, a procession of Pro Bowlers at the kick return, punt return position. The last Pro Bowler that did what Deontay Harris did at the kick return and punt return level was Michael Lewis. You know how long ago that was? And then also, before I leave the Traquan Smith thing, give me a second so I can pull up his scouting report. How about that? Let's do that. I did this for PJ Williams. I did this for Marcus Williams when we laughed about the fact that the scouting report called him a finesse safety. Remember that? And I was like, a finesse safety. It's football, not basketball. But anyway, hold on. Give me a second. We're going to pull up Traquan Smith's scouting report. Okay, hold on. Give me a second, and I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to get away from it, and I'm going to come back and finish out the chat. Okay, give me a second. Y'all know how I do. We're going to get to the bottom of it and see if Traquan living up to his scouting report here. All right, hold on here. All right, give me just a second. I got to find the right one. All right. All right, we got one here. Give me a second. I'm going to share my screen with you. I appreciate y'all for joining. Being so patient. Please hit the like button, family. Please hit the like button while we going to go through this. Hit the like button. 45 plus people in the chat. Please feel free to hit the like button. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate you, Cheryl. Who that, baby? Thank you. Appreciate your super chat. Troll Blue, and thank you, baby. Appreciate you, fam. No problem, Troll. Thank you, fam. Thank you for your super chat. Okay, on the screen now, what we got, family, is this is the Traquan Smith NFL Draft 2019 Scouting Report Pro Bleacher Report. Now, Bleacher Report's pretty respectable, right, family? Could we say that much? Bleacher Report is a respectable outlet as far as football talk, correct? All right, let's move into it. As you can see, that's a picture of Traquan Smith right there, number 4 from the University of Central Florida, the Knights, right? Let's look at the scouting report. Positives. Scott Frost's offense demanded. He impacted the run game as a blocker. And the truth be told, Traquan Smith's not a bad blocker. He's actually a pretty decent blocker. Now, they say he's an excellent jump ball receiver who can win with high pointing the ball. And when he was outside, we hadn't got an opportunity to see a lot of high pointing by Traquan Smith on the outside route. We've seen a lot of him dropping the ball and contested. And I see a lot of confidence issues with him. But anyway, I'm going to keep my stuff to myself. Let me get you the scouting report. All right, these are the positives right here I got highlighted here. Okay, excellent jump ball receiver who can win with high pointing, times his move on the ball well and shows natural athleticism playing above the turf, has the speed to stretch the field and can run off defenders, productive down the field and flash the ability to pick up chunk plays after the catch. What that mean, Q? That means this dude is a good outside wide receiver. Look what they say in the 4th bullet point. Has the speed to stretch the field. We know Traquan's fast. We know he can run off the defenders if you can get him the ball. And he says he's productive downfield after making a catch. Chunk plays. He averaged almost 20 yards per catch in college, which is why the Saints paid attention to him. What's the negatives on Traquan Smith? Well, let's take a look at him. Big catch radius, but struggles with drops. True. Thin frame allows pressure coverage to slow him down. How many times have you heard the fact that he struggles to get off the line of scrimmage? Huh? Frame is maxed out and looks stiff when asked to break off routes. How many times have you heard me call Traquan Smith stiff? How many times? And look, I've never seen this scouting report, family. I'm just strictly reading this man's body language and his play based on the footage that I watch out of college and his time with the Saints. Let's start with bullet point 1. Big catch radius but struggles with drops. That's true. Thin frame allows press coverage to slow him down. True. Now he says frame is maxed out and he looks stiff when asked to break off routes. How many times the last couple of years did y'all guys hear me say that Traquan Smith looks stiff and scared? How many times? Weak through traffic and be timid at the catch point. Look at that bullet point. Bullet point number 4 just told you what I just said, which was he ain't made for that life. He not made for that inside life. Bullet point says weak through traffic, meaning he ain't comfortable making catches in traffic. Guess what that means? You're going to struggle to be a slot man, bro. Because when you're going into the slot, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see some traffic in that slot. You're going to see some safeties in that slot. You're going to see some athletic linebackers in that slot. You might even see an athletic defensive end breaking into coverage in that slot. You're going to see some hitters in that position. Weak through traffic and timid. Them people said timid. What does timid mean? Don't timid mean scared? I mean, it's interesting because this is the man's scouting report. And then, of course, the final bullet point was frame and catch radius limitations might limit him to a slot role only, which he can't even do that for the Saints. His best option, and I don't agree with that last bullet point, but I would see him more as a help as an outside deep threat wide receiver than I would ever see him as a slot man. As a slot man, you have to live that life. You have to be prepared for that pain. Traquan Smith is not that man. He is not, he don't have the ability to play the slot. He don't have the heart for it. I'm not saying that he's weak, but I'm saying that it's a different type of wide receiver who can play that slot, who can deal with that punishment from them safeties and the linebackers and the athletic defensive linemen. Overall, let's look at the overall comparison on it. As they said here, Traquan Smith excelled at UCF with his speed and big playability, but needs to refine his game as a route runner and work on using length to his advantage. He's solid, but likely tops out as a mid-round pick. Well, the Saints got him in the 3rd round of that year. And that's the scouting report. Isn't that Cole? That's the scouting report. I never read that before. But I told you, I said, this man ain't no slot receiver. This other dude did at the end of he says, oh, well, Traquan Smith can be finalized as a slot man. No, he can't. 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 And no, he won't. No. I tell you what, if you don't like Traquan Smith, leave him at the slot position. If you don't like him, because that's the worst thing you can do to him, is put him in the slot. All right, fam, I went all the way in around and did all that stuff just to show you that, hey, man, we know football at the Great Saint Think Tank. We know football. We talk football, and I've never seen that goddamn scouting report before, but I'm just going to keep it real with you. I know what I'm looking at. And I told you he's not about that life like some of my family would say. You ain't about that life. Iceman says, Q, we have to win a Super Bowl this season. We can't settle for anything unless I agree, Iceman. We gonna get it. We're gonna get it. You know, we get an opportunity. We're gonna seize it. Could Teddy and Carolina be a problem after Drew retires? I don't think so. I think the Saints are trending in a good direction. I think Carolina is building something very nice. They're a team of the future to look at because they got a lot of draft picks, a lot of youthful players. But the Saints ain't exactly chopped liver. The Saints have some pretty damn good youngsters too. And we pretty solid for the next 4 or 5 years. Elvin Kamara, Ryan Ramczyk, Marshawn Lattimore, Cam Jordan, Zach Bowen, Alex Anzalone, I believe, will step up and play well. Mike Thomas for the foreseeable future, you know, and then you will develop more talent. Remember, why am I so big on the future? Because you have Jeff Ireland. Ireland bringing all this supreme talent in here, supreme role players, Shai Tuttle, Onyemata, and the rest of these guys. The Saints will continue the same mantra and model of building the futuristic team as they've been doing it. And now they've only getting better at it. They're getting these undrafted guys and turning them to absolute solid role players. And if you're fortunate, they turn you into a starter. So the Saints are doing it absolutely right. And I love it. And and our future's bright too. You know, so we're a player in the future of the NFC South, if that's what you're talking about. Thank you. Tro says, with emphasis on, okay, I already said that. Joe Law, who that to you, Joe? Good to see you. Brady about to learn what it's like to play against the good division rivals for a change. Thank you, Joe. I agree. Dada says, in my opinion, Deontay Harris needs no more than 7 to 8 wide receiver touches a game. His focus should stay as a returner. I agree, Dada. Might be less than that, man. You might get 3 or 4 out of him a game. But if you have a guy that can step up out of the wide receiver core and play, remember, you might not need Deontay Harris if you have a guy like Marquez Callaway that step up. You might not need Deontay Harris in that capacity if Maurice Harris steps up. You might not need Deontay Harris in that capacity if Ty Montgomery plays the slot, if Ty Montgomery plays in those positions. You might not need Deontay Harris there if Taysom Hill's excelling there. You might not need that guy there if Tommy Stevens is excelling there. You might not need that guy there if Adam Troutman isn't occupying the slot, lining up like a wide receiver. Positionless football. Remember that. Thank you for that, Dada. Let's see. Phoebe said, I just want the Saints to get home field advantage in the playoffs. Get that 1 seed, man. Go to Super Bowl. Thank you, Phoebe. I agree with you, baby. Who that to you? Iceman said, Deontay Harris is 5 feet. Injury concern moving forward. I read that one. Phoebe says, remember we was giving Jared Goff a hard time in the playoffs. The fans was loud. It was crazy. I remember Trail says, I still think the Saints need to sign AB or Dez Bryant for depth. We'll see. They still have a few moves. I don't think Dez Bryant's a player in the game. And Antonio Brown could very well be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. You know, that's the weird thing about Tom Brady. He knows he's going to need every help that he possibly can to overthrow what the Saints doing here. We a juggernaut, man. I ain't tooting my own horn. I'm speaking real. We a juggernaut here, man. He's like, well, Q, we might be over pumping them a little bit, aren't we? No. You won the division 3 years in a row, and I'm supposed to pump my brakes on that? And it ain't like you've lost anything. You've only gained more. You say, oh, you won a division. We won the division with the roster we had over the last couple of years. A mutated Saints offense. Basically, with the help of the rest of our units, won the NFC South. Now, I ask you, is this team that we're putting into this upcoming season more talented on paper than it's 3 previous incarnations. You would have to keep it real and say, yes, Q. Emmanuel Sanders is the best. It was way better than the 2 or 3 years we had Ted Ginn Jr. there, Q. Taysom Hill is better than whatever slot options we had over the last 2 or 3 years, Q. The depth at the wide receiver position and the fact that they're so versatile is by far more versatile than any other things that we had in the future in the past, Q. It's just, you can go on, and then you talk about then you equate that with the experience factor. I don't think I'm tooting my horn here. I'm keeping it real. I'm saying that the Saints, and even your detractors know that the Saints, they hate the Saints, but still picking them to win 13 games. You cannot overlook the team. And I'm not tooting my own horn as a black and gold guy. I'm keeping it real and telling you that there's never been a 4 straight division winner in the NFC South. This year, if this damn stuff don't stop it, then we probably going to see the Saints do some real sports. I'm just going to keep it real with you, man. But another thing that kind of hesitates me about the season is this unknown thing that's hanging around. You know, what if some key players contracted? They'll be gone for 10 to 14 days. You know? This is problematic. That is the key. That's the question mark that hangs over the season, is if some of the players contracted, then what? Then what? I mean, it's a health first aspect of it, but we're talking football now. If we talking football, then I have to think that. You know, that's the thing that's in my mind as a critical thinking man, that I have to think about that. Keeping going, Iceman says, hell, Traquan been injured too, though. Demi says, family, I'll be back at 10 p.m. Bible studies about to start. Love y'all. Thank you, Demi, and be safe, baby. Much love to you. Let's see. Phoebe says, I don't know why we traded Kirkwood. Scoob says, Traquan was injured, but Kirkwood was undrafted free agent, so coaches tend to keep draft picks over undrafted guys. That's true. True, we let Kirkwood walk. The Saints wanted Kirkwood back, to be honest with you. They wanted Kirkwood back. Carolina gave him a better deal. They gave him a better deal, and the Saints wasn't going to match it. But the Saints wanted Kirkwood back. I remember talking about that. The Saints wanted Kirkwood back, but Carolina paid him more, and the Saints like, we ain't going to pay you for that. We love you, but we don't like you that much. Let's see. Mr. Babaxi, week 1 against the Houston Texans, Kirkwood exited the game after 12 snaps, will never return to the field in 2019. Tro says, I'm liking Callaway a lot lately. Mr. Boombastic says, during those 12 snaps, Kirkwood was not targeted, and therefore we don't even, he says, you don't have even the slightest of sample size work from in regards to his performance. Phoebe says, I think Marquez Callaway going to make the 53-man roster. I'd be inclined to agree with you there, Phoebe. Mr. Bombastic says, what up with Lil Jordan Humphrey? I like Lil Jordan. I think he's your best yards after catch wide receiver, not named Mike Thomas or Emmanuel Sanders. He has I think that's one of the best things he has. He is a sure catcher of the ball. He's not that great of a route runner. He doesn't have that much speed. But what makes Lil Jordan Humphrey a great look in my book, not great play, but a great look in my book, is the fact that he's a big wide receiver that knows how to use his body. He's a very good catcher of the ball. He makes contested catches really easy. And the most important of all those things is that he is a really good yards after the catch wide receiver. I keep saying that because it's the truth. If you watch footage on him at college and at Texas, and in his time with the Saints last year, when he catches the ball, he secures the ball. He utilizes that stiff hand well. He does jerking motions. Guy grabs his legs. He pulling himself, and he fights for every yard. He's a very difficult big wide receiver to tackle. And usually, if you watch the footage, it takes more than one player to take him down. That's a gift. That's why I like a guy like LaJordan Humphrey to make the team. Because to have that type of mentality, a big physical wide receiver, you throw him the ball and he was able to fight off, tackle a stiff arm, and he get tough yards, you know,
most of the guys, they look to get on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like sometime I will see Jared Cook make catches. I'm like, man, you 6'5", 6'6", or whatever you are, 6'7". He's a big ass guy. I'm like, shouldn't you be like a little bit more harder to bring down? You know, a big 6'7" guy or 6'6" guy shouldn't be tackled easily by a 5'11" cornerback. It should take 2 5'11" guys to bring down a big 6'6" guy. That's what I'm thinking on the football field. Gang tackle is the only way to bring a big guy like that down, in my opinion. Well, the Jordan Humphrey, you don't have that issue. So that's what I like about him. Thanks, Boombastic. Scoop says, like Dada said, Deontay Harris 4-5 offensive snaps and see what happens. Phoebe says, if the Saints add Tommy Stevens, it will be a waste of time because they're not going to use him like that. The Saints will add Tommy Stevens to the active roster because to practice squad him will mean that the Carolina Panthers, who was trying to get him from the Saints before, would end up getting him. So he would definitely find his way on the active roster. The Saints will utilize him, like we've said before, that Sean Payton sees him as a Taysom Hill clone. Let's not forget that. Sean Payton says that Tommy Stevens, the 7th-round draft pick this year, is a Taysom Hill clone. He sees him as such, and he will use him as such. So you could see him possibly at tight end. You might be at wide receiver. You probably see him at fullback. Special teams, you never know with Sean Payton. He has 2 Taysom Hills on this team. So that'll be another question mark, but we're going based upon what the coach is saying. We'll see. Once again, thank you, Cheryl and Tro Blew It for y'all super chats. Much love to you. Appreciate that. Boombastic says you can't coach out of fear. Thank you. Rush Hour, who that to you, fam? Good to see you. Says Big Q. What up? Any news on any undrafted free agents? No new free agent news or signing of any free agents right now. Rush Hour. Nothing new right now, family. But stay tuned, bro. We'll keep you in the know. Thank you. Scoop says safeties galore. Ireland for president. Pelicans notice says Big Q. Tim, it mean, he said, what it says, Big Q. Tim, it mean weak. Okay. Caribbean Cool. What up, Caribbean Cool from the island? Who that to my family? This offense is going to give the Chiefs offense a run for their money. That'll be excellent. Can't wait to see that game. Tramal says, wouldn't mind if PJ get it. Let's see who else. He says, my bad. I don't wish, you know what, on anybody, but PJ only on game day. As safety, I think PJ will be fine. John Thompson, who that to you, John? Good to see you in the chat as well. Scoop says Kirkwood also played for Matt Rule at Temple. Yep, connections, family. That's what the NFL is all about. They call it a big fraternity. That's what the term is, and fraternity is just a brotherhood, right? Just like the sorority is a sisterhood. And that size runs. You have sons of former players playing in today's sport and friends of people that make it in the dough. Like you might see the little bald head dude running around on the sideline for the Saints. When you go, you think you just going to go on their website and apply for those jobs? You got to know somebody, man. You got to know somebody to get on there and run up and down the field giving them Gatorade. You got to know somebody. And that's what it comes down to. And that's not exclusive to just football. That's in most very difficult to get into industries. You got to know somebody. So, but I appreciate the family members for chiming in. We're approaching 2 hours. I'm not going to keep y'all guys long today. I could push on for another 2 hours. I'm talking Saints with the family members, and man, I love it and appreciate it. Talking Saints with the family members on this Saints Wednesday. So I want to ask all the beautiful black and gold family members to hit the like button. If you haven't already hit the like button, please do the platform of service and hit the like button. If you aren't a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, man. Tro Blewett says Tommy Stevens started his career as a DB. He's a workaholic and is up to 250 pounds. He loves physicality. He is bigger, Taysom, but not as fast, but fast enough. He could literally take Hill's job. I don't know about that because, like you said, he's not as fast. Taysom Hill is pretty spectacular. It's probably like 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4 fastest players on his team. If you get in a foot race with Taysom Hill, he pretty much smoke your ass. But ain't too many people that it's like he got, in my opinion, Taysom Hill is like probably either one of the 3rd or 4th fastest Saint players on his team in the foot race. Obviously, to me, I think the fastest guy on the field is Deontay Harris. Elvin Kamara is in there at the top there as far as speed is concerned. you know, and then you could probably throw Taysom Hill at 3 or 4 versus whoever else. But speed and just the speed and physicality is what's special about Taysom Hill. You love what he brings. He's such a great guy, and he brings the physicality and that excitement to the game that people love. And then you can count on Taysom. That's the thing. That needs to be a t-shirt. You can count on Taysom. You could. The man's not even a wide receiver, but he's running wide receiver routes. He's learning the wide receiver route tree, and he's a quarterback. He was running as a running back. He's not even a running back. He was playing at a tight end and wasn't even a tight end, and blocking. He was playing on special teams and blocking kicks and punts, blocking punts. Remember that? He was playing on the special teams and kick returning, punt returning. That's regardless if you're a Taysom Hill fan or not, that you must admit to yourself that is absolutely amazing what he does. And I think we take Taysom for granted, man. It's the fact that you're a quarterback, but you're going to take a wide receiver snaps from him. The fact that you're a quarterback, but you're going to take a running back. He done took Traquan Smith snaps away from him, Latavius Murray snaps away from him. He's a snap taker. I mean, that's how, and it's your own fault. Because if you're not busting ass and being excited and making impacts, Taysom Hill going to take your job. You know, Taysom Hill's going to take your job from you. And you got a baby Taysom on the team now. You know, a bigger version of him. And we're just going to see. It's exciting, man. Positionless football. That's just what it is. Thank you for that, Tro. Derek said it didn't work out for Randy Moss' son. Tro Blue says Taysom was on there. He's somewhere, though, Derek. He's in the league. Randy Moss' son is somewhere. I'm going to see. What's his name? Yeah, I think his son signed with the Redskins. Let me make sure. I'm just going off of my Thad Moss. I want to say, I'm just going off my memory, but I think he signed with the Redskins. Let me make sure here. This all from memory. Yep. He signed with the Redskins, undrafted. See, I was just off of memory. But yeah, he's in the league as a wide receiver. I mean, as a tight end with the Redskins, so we'll see. Troll says Taysom was on their QB. He learned to be a specialty. I know, I just said it. It's amazing what he did. K. Savage Gaming. What up, fam? Good to see you. Thank you for joining the live stream, fam. Much love to you. Troll says, I heard he's the fastest. He's faster than Deontay Harris. Wow. I don't know. But in a footwork race between Deontay Harris and Taysom Hill, who wins? I have Deontay. I'm just going to let you know. Deontay Harris is faster, in my opinion. We'll see. But that would be exciting to watch. I'd pay to watch that happen. And the foot race between those guys. Jamal said, who's the fastest in the NFL? Not certain, bro. I'm not certain on that. Torrey says Deontay runs a 4.3. Okay. K. Dot says Derek was good. K. Dot says Taysom was the fastest until Deontay Harris. Okay, thank you. Okay. Troll says, yeah, we shall see what Stevens got. But Taysom is truly special. We are definitely not truly appreciating what Taysom Hill brings at his position. So much so that he's so special that he is creating a position change all throughout the NFL. Now everybody is trying to find a Taysom Hill. That's a game changer. And then he impacting the game, and he's not even a starter. There is no position for his name. They're going to create a whole new position title for Taysom's position. You know, they call it a flex player. I think they call it the flex player. Is that right? Flex player. In college, they call it when they don't know what you're going to be. You call an athlete. You're an athlete. They don't know if you're going to be a wide receiver, a running back, whatever. You're an athlete, cornerback, whatever. It's amazing, though, man. Regardless, man, he's special. I truly appreciate Taysom Hill and what he does. Pelicans notice is Butler going to be able to step up this year for the Saints. Emmanuel Butler, in my opinion, has a lot of explaining to do. Lucy, you got a lot of explaining to do. Well, that's is pretty much what Emmanuel Butler is. You got a lot of explaining to do, because I remember him playing in these in these practices where he was showing up. But you put his ass in them preseason games, he was dropping passes and everything. So I don't know, man. I'm still the jury's still out on Emmanuel Butler, in my opinion. I do know about LaJordan Humphreys, but it's quite ironic that LaJordan Humphreys and Emmanuel Butler was on his team at the same time, and LaJordan Humphrey was able to find playing time and even was on the active roster for several games, where Emmanuel Butler never was. We'll see. We'll see. Trail Hatch says, haven't seen a player like Taysom since Cordell Stewart. And Taysom, in my opinion, is probably more electric. Cordell was special. Slash was special, no doubt about it, but it's different energy around Taysom Hill. You know, it's the physicality, because even though Slash was special at what he did, but it's the reason why Taysom is different is because it's like he's like a running back doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, he running over the line, the cornerbacks. He don't run around you. He lowers his shoulder at you. And then when he run over your ass, he jumping up and down, smiling and shit. I mean, nobody I've seen do that. I mean, even if you look at a guy like Tim Tebow, who was big and physical, Taysom Hill does not shy away from contact. And when he lays it on your ass, he more excited than a linebacker. I mean, it's just amazing, man, in my opinion, about what Taysom Hill is. I go on and on and on. Steve Wynn, who that to you, Steve? Good to see. Says, True said, I got to look at the article, but Peyton said it happened. Phoebe says, you think the Saints should get Jamar Chase next year? I don't think we will. I don't think we'd be bad enough to get Jamar Chase unless he falls in the draft. But he should be like, if we have a college season, if a college season plays or what have you, because I think college is more in doubt than the pros are. You know, but if there is a draft, I don't think we'll fall that low, you know what I'm saying, Phoebe, to be able to get a Jamar Chase, unless maybe he slides to us, perhaps. I don't know, but you know, if based on what we know, if he's like, he should be like one of the top wide receivers out next year. He should be a top 20 pick, in my opinion. I don't think he gets to where we supposed to pick at. In my opinion, we should be picking at 32. So I don't think he'll be there. Thanks for the question, though, Phoebe. Torres says Taysom runs a full. Okay, I got you. Let's see. K. Dot says fastest in the league is Tyreek Hill. That dude, that's amazing to me, man. Tyreek Hill is the fastest dude near Kansas City Chief. And then they got Clyde Edwards-Helaire up there. It's not going to be easy to topple the Chiefs, family. I'm just going to put that out there right now. It's not going to be easy. Scoop says Taysom Hill hits like a Mack truck at full speed. That's the great, beautiful thing about Taysom, is that he catches the ball, then he not going to shy away from you. He'll lower his shoulder, hit you, and jump up and down. He won't brag at you and point at you. That's the thing that's great about Taysom Hill. It's like, you know, if he runs over you, he'd be jumping up and down like a jackrabbit. But he won't point at you and say, I ran over your ass. He won't do that. He'll jump up and down and just be excited because of the contact. He won't be pointing at you, and that's not his thing. But he's just terrific, man. I just love that part of the game. Phoebe says, man, Taysom getting old, he finna be 31. Still is excellent, though. Scoop said the utilization of Taysom Hill is a testament to Peyton's offensive genius. Great. He just pulled that guy out of the hat, and he created more Taysoms. That's all I can say. 985 Live. Who that to you, baby? Good to see you in the chat. Much love to you. Fam. Good to see you. Derek said, I agree with you, bro. Troll says, we're gonna be too good to be able to pick Chase. Rush Hours, I keep seeing news about Clowney want to go to Dallas or the Saints. That's not absolutely true. If you go back and read some of those articles they written by Dallas Cowboy pro people, that is trying to guide the narrative of the Clowney conversation toward the Dallas Cowboys. But I often said, because of the fact that anytime the Saints get into a contest or, you know, between two teams to see who goes where, it's definitely a need for Clowney in both teams. You know, if you have DeMarcus Lawrence on one side, Clowney on another, that'd be special. Of course, Clowney played for the Texans. He was drafted there, so it's a familiarity with the state of Texas. And then, of course, he went to Seattle. The thing is, Cowboys and Saints are the final two teams he's looking at. Of course, the Cowboys fans will say he'll choose us over the Saints because of their propensity to pick their team, and I respect that. And we would say the same about our team. Only thing we can do is just wait and see what becomes of it. We know that the Cowboys have a little bit more flexibility cap-wise than the Saints. They got about $11 million. The Saints just over 9, just under 9, or right around 9. But the Saints could free up a hell of a lot more money with the releasing of Nick Eason and several other Saints players if they really want to get this guy. So we'll just have to play by ear and stay on it. But thanks for that comment there, Rush Hour. Trell says, I'm so convincing Taysom Hill probably can't even play defensive end, but I'm serious, and he get 10 sacks a season. Man, no telling what you could do with Taysom. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to even consider putting Taysom in as a blitzer. I mean, it's just his excitement, his athleticism. He's a playmaker. He'll impact no matter where you put him on the field. And it's evident he impacts the wide receiver room when he plays. He impacts at the running back position. He impacts at special teams. The guy was blocking punts. Remember that? You can't barely block him. He breaks through and blocks punt. He kick returns on. I mean, anywhere he's at, he has the innate ability to cause hell for another team. If you need a spark, put Taysom Hill there, and he'll provide a spark. That's a gift that he has that places him well above and creates a positionless football player in Taysom Hill. I don't anticipate him being used on the defensive side of the ball, but if Sean Payton's imagination does not allow him just to stick exclusively to wide receiver duties, he also allowed him to leak out to the special teams room. So why not defense if Dennis Allen has the imagination to do it? And I'm thinking out of all of our head coaches or top coaches, and we speaking about all the court, we're talking about the offensive room, defensive room, and special teams area. I think the least talented or least imaginative of Rizzy, Peyton, and the rest is Dennis Allen. So it's his defensive imagination is what, if he can gather some more defensive imagination, come up with some creative stuff. But he's not that type of coordinator. He's pretty conservative and not quite what I would like my coordinator to be. I would like a little bit more Greg Williams, and Rob Ryan in him. Not too much, but a little more what he is. And I think you can have a pretty damn good coordinator if you mix Williams and Rob Ryan and Allen together with Allen's conservative nature, along with Rob Ryan and Greg Williams' aggressiveness of play calling and schemes. You have somebody pretty damn good as a coordinator. But I think the defense, as far as Taysom's concerned, is only limited by its ability to imagine that. And if he's impactful on special teams and in the offense, why would he not be the same on defense? But Zach Bowen is a dude that if you want to pay attention to somebody who has that same energy, pay attention to Zach Bowen. Zach Bowen has the same type of mojo, motor, and intensity that Taysom Hill has. Zach Bowen, the draft pick Saints picked up out of Wisconsin. Pay attention to him. He has the same type of feeling that Taysom Hill has. It's going to be actually good watching him. Now, Byron says the Redskins 95 said want to see Taysom play cornerback or safety. Could you imagine Taysom playing safety? Man, he'd be popping them. I'm not going to even get into it to get me too excited. I ain't trying to get nobody any headaches or heart attacks right now. Dada says we better run the ball and keep the Chiefs offense off the field. K-Dot says I bet Taysom could play safety better than Williams. Both Williamses. Tori says John Ross is the fastest 4.22. Tyreek ran the 4. Oh, that's absolute. John Ross, that's Snoop Dogg's cousin. That's the guy out of came from Washington, wasn't it? He plays for the Bengals, I believe. But he stays hurt a lot. But yeah, I've heard about him. That's amazing. 4.22. Joey B got him the weapon. Steve Wynn says if he tackle, he can special teams, he can play defense. Thank you, Steve. K. Savage Gaming says Torrey true, but dude hasn't played for years because of injury almost every year. Yeah, speed ain't no good unless you got it on the field, right? Byron says probably move up mid-range between 16 and 20 spots. Get Jamar Chase. Get him. Dominic says LOL. Steve says Taysom will be like John Lynch. Yeah, John Lynch was a beast. Tro says Taysom at safety, the white Bob Sanders. Bob Sanders was something else, man. People forgot about Bob Sanders, man. Bob Sanders will light your ass up. He was a small ass guy, but he reminded me of, I always compared Bob Sanders, the former safety of the Indianapolis Colts, to Troy Polamalu. Their styles were very similar because they had just a terrible disregard of their own health. Bob Sanders would launch himself like a missile into your chest. And then he was a hitter. He was a special. I mean, he would get interceptions, but he had a lot of heart. Little small safety, but Bob Sanders and Troy Polamalu was two of my favorite hard hitting safeties. John Lynch was a bad boy too. Tim McDonald, and quite a few of them. If you give me time, I can cycle through them. Sammy Knight, guys like that. They'll light your life up. Ronnie Lott. How can I not forget Ronnie Lott, the ultimate safety? Ronnie Lott. 985, Jay says Bob was a dog. K. Dot said Bob Sanders was my dude. Smart player, aggressive. His body just can't stand up. When you launch yourself like a missile into somebody, you're going to tear up something, and most of the time it's yourself. Dominic says Taysom hitting people so hard, he'd give him a concussion. That's right, Steve. Ed Reed. How could I forget Ed Reed? I said you give me a time to think about him. Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed, Tim McDonald, Troy Polamalu, Bob Sanders. Oh, man, there's so many great ones over the years. Saints, speaking of the Saints, some of the greatest Saints safeties, and Sammy Knight would light your life up. Sammy Knight would destroy your ass. He didn't have a lot of speed, but Sammy knew how to lay that pain on you. Steve Atwater, that's right. I remember when Steve Atwater blew up somebody. Who was that he blew up? He blew up somebody. It was one of the most ferocious hits in the game. Brian Dawkins is another good one, K. Dot. Steve Atwater, see, Ronnie Lott, Steve Atwater, them type of dudes destroyed you. You was scared to take your ass across there because you knew Ronnie Lott and Steve Atwater, Sammy Knight was lurking about. Those guys would destroy you, and they were scared to do it. But yeah, we had a lot of good ones, a lot of really good safeties over the years in the NFL. Uncle Paulie probably could tell you a handful of, he go back in the day on you on that. But thank you, family, for all that. Appreciate the family. Earl Thomas is another good one. That's true, Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas is good. When he was young, he light your life up too. To a lesser degree, I guess I could throw Darren Woodson in there. Darren Woodson was okay. Darren Woodson did okay. I guess I could throw him in. I ain't going to try to disrespect him, but you could throw him in there a little bit. Guess you could throw him in there. I'm trying to think of some other guys I remember that just was terrible, man. That would just destroy your ass. It's quite a few of them clumped together in my mind. I can't pull them all out at the same time. That's right. Okoye. That's right. He destroyed the Nigerian Nightmare. The Nigerian Nightmare wasn't a nightmare after that. After Steve Atwater destroyed, and he was a tough dude to bring down, but Atwater destroyed him, hit him straight up and knocked him back. That was a classic one. Thank you for that. Steve says Chancellor. Okay. Cam Chancellor. Yeah, he was another dude. That's an under the radar type of move. Yep. Dominic. Sean Taylor. Yep. The late great Sean Taylor, man. The hybrid. That was another dude that'll blow you apart. So yeah, a lot of great ones, man. Y'all bringing them out, man. Ed Reed, Atwater, Sean Taylor, all them dudes. That was great safeties, man. Polamalu, Bob Sanders, man, damn. Great safeties, man. Great safeties. That's what we looking at. Marcus Williams said, man, you need to go watch footage on these players only. Marcus Williams, look at footage of these players only. Malcolm Jenkins, too. Go look at footage of Malcolm Jenkins, the first time Malcolm Jenkins. When he was with the Saints the first time, Malcolm Jenkins was destroying people. He blew up several Atlanta Falcons. I mean, he would just deplete people. He'll blast your back out. I mean, go look up footage on when Malcolm Jenkins was with the Saints his first tenure. How he used to destroy and blow up people. Malcolm Jenkins was a beast too. Thank you, K. Dot. That's true. I was looking at footage of him last month destroying people when he was down here with New Orleans. So he was destroying people, especially the Falcons. Rodney Harrison. Trail says Rodney Harrison. Yep, I remember Rodney Harrison. He was dirty too. Rodney Harrison sit up there on Channel 6 and talk all nice and he was dirty as hell. Nobody liked Rodney Harrison, but Rodney Harrison will knock your head out. He'll blow you up. I even like what was his name? Wasn't Lawyer Malloy wasn't bad either. Y'all remember Lawyer Malloy? Y'all remember that? You remember him? Lawyer Malloy? Dante Hittner. What? Dante Whitner. Space Ghost. Space Ghost perspective. Thank you, fam. Who that to you? He said Dante Whitner. Oh yeah, Whitner would destroy you too. What was your guy name from the 49ers, man? Who was a destroyer? What was his name? The safety from the 49ers. Yeah, I know Whitner played for the 49ers, but it was another safety there who 40 something. I won't say it, he would destroy you. He would blow. I remember he was a nasty safety. The 49ers had. Y'all see if y'all can chime that. Put that in the chat. Because Dante, good one, Space Ghost. Dante Whitner was fire. But what was that of the 49ers safety that played when Kaepernick was there? He was there when Cap was there. And boy, he used to blow people up. He was a safety in the 49ers defense. That dude, I always wanted the Saints to go after him. Let me see if I could pull it, because I know y'all smart. Y'all will probably remember. I got so much football stuff up in my brain. Let me see. Let's see. I'm trying to remember that roster. When what's the name of the safety? Deshaun Golson. There you go. See, y'all smart, man. Y'all smart. I knew y'all would get it. Deshaun Golson. That's him. Y'all, do anybody remember Deshaun Golson? Huh? Do anybody remember Deshaun Golson? Thank you, Trail. Do anybody remember Deshaun Golson? Do anybody remember Golson? That dude was a beast. Send all of those dudes, all those tapes, Rodney Lott, Deshaun Golson, Dante Whitner, Rodney Harrison, Sammy Knight, take all of them, Bob Sanders, Troy Polamalu, package it and send it to Marcus Williams and say, hey, watch this till your eyes file out. That guy Golson would tear you up. That dude was awesome. He don't get nearly the credit he deserved. But Deshaun Golson would destroy your ass. And then the crazy part is the 49er defense had hitters all over the place. Remember, you had the linebacker from out of the state of Mississippi, Pat Willis. You had Patrick Willis was there 7 years, 7 Pro Bowls. He occupied the center of the 49er defense. Behind him was Deshaun Golson. You had 2 hitters, and that 49er defense was nasty. Golson was destroying you. I mean, thank y'all for that, because that brought back some really good ones. Space Ghost said, I hated playing against the 49er safeties. I know. They destroyed. Remember, the 49er safeties was the ones that knocked Pierre Thomas out in that game. Remember that? Who blew Pierre Thomas' ass up in that game? Wasn't that Deshaun Golson? Deshaun Golson put pain on Pierre Thomas. I think he knocked him out of that game against the 49ers, that 49ers playoff game, matter of fact. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember, I want to say it was Deshaun Golson, the one that blasted Pierre Thomas out of that game. Navarro Bowman. Good one. Good one, Tramal. Yeah. He said then you had D.N. Smith. Yep. Yeah, Justin Smith, I think his name was. Is you talking about? Big Dog Joe Bell. Who that to you? I see you, Big Dog. Whitner did that. Okay. But see, them safeties was a problem. Trail says Ed Reed probably was the best complete safety all around. Yeah, no, well, it's hard to say, because when you say all around great safeties, you got to remember, you got to throw Ronnie Lott in there. And I don't know if you'll meet too many people that'll put Ed Reed over Ronnie Lott. So I don't know, but perhaps. Space Ghost said it was Whitner. Okay, thank you, family. Okay, K. Dot said it was Whitner that hit him. Okay. Joe Law said any of those guys would have ruptured Stephon Diggs' liver. I know. But that's who you want to hit like. Now, of course, a lot of those people say you can't do that no more. No, you can still hit them. Just hit them within the confines of the rules. But what I'm saying is you wasn't dropping that ball like that and doing that first down gesture that wide receivers and tight ends do in the center of the field. Nowadays, if Ronnie Lott or Deshaun Golson or Troy Polamalu or Bob Sanders or Ed Reed or Earl Thomas, any of those guys lurking around that area, you're not doing all of that shit up in there. You ain't doing first down gestures. You're too busy trying to keep a hold to your head. Uncle Paulie says Jack Tatum. That was another excellent dude that'll take your head off. But it has to be a fear component. You coming up in here, you got to be fear the reason why you can't come up in here and do what you're going to do here. It's got to be a fear component. We got to make them as scared of running across the middle as Traquan Smith is. No, I had to throw that in there some kind of way. School says Wes Hopkins and Andre Waters were lights out for the Eagles. That's true too. Yeah. Williams don't have that in him. He's softer than Cottonelle. Well, that's the thing we got to do, man. We got to make sure. But anyway, family, we get close to the end of the show. Like, appreciate. I'm not gonna hold y'all late for today, family. You know, usually we do our middle of the week shows. We be going deep. Mel Blunt, good one, Uncle Paulie. Good Mel Blunt. That's another. See, Uncle Paulie gonna bring all the greats out. So I mean, yeah. I'd like to thank all the beautiful Black and Gold family members for chiming on the live stream today, man. 2.5 hours of Saint Talk. Now, it didn't even feel like 2.5 hours of Saint Talk, did it, family? Felt like 30 or 40 minutes, huh? Didn't it? That's because when you talking and passionate and you having edutainment, it feel like that. That's how it feel like to me. But I appreciate all the beautiful Black Gold family for chiming in the live stream tonight. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you aren't a subscriber. We talk like this all the time. We the most passionate group of Saints fans in the entire history of the event, baby. The great Saint Tank passion is real, family. Diehard Saints fans and the best of the Saints nation is represented in the great Saint Tank, baby. Now you can hear the energy and the passion in my voice, and I am just a small inkling of the great Saint Tank, but I represent it to the fullest, baby. Please go to the Pro Shop, family. We got new items available. Several stores in the Pro Shop. We just released some more information pertaining to the hats. We do have hats now. Several new hats. We'll continue to add hats over time. 40 different designs available. Not only t-shirts or anything else. We got all kind of stuff, man. You just gonna have to go to see. I can't sit up here and tell you about every damn thing. It's hundreds of dozens of projects available. I know we have masks now. I know the team developed some masks that you can wear and stuff like that with the Great Saint Tank on them. And let me see if I can show some of them and share the screen with the family members for a moment, just to show that. After we run those, I'll bounce back to them and see if I can get them up on live stream. But we definitely have some hats and the mask available for people who trying to protect themselves in what's going on in the world. Also, just to let the family members know, you can check the links in the description section below, get a discount on the final purchase. And remember, all proceeds go to help the platform grow and grow and grow. And notice, a lot of our family members have been doing a great job of supporting and sharing the links. I'm just telling you and keeping it real with you. You see a lot of stuff going on. You see a lot of stuff growing. You see the 24-hour live stream growing. We kind of revolutionizing things here. Or should I say evolutionizing things? Because revolute means to go backwards. Evolute means to go forward. Evolution is going on here at the Great Saint Tank. So I appreciate everybody who's participating. Much love to you and Yearns. And continue to do that. Who that to you, Jason King? I see your family. Pat Tillman. That's right. Much love to Pat Tillman, too. I see your fam. Good call on that one. Also, the Pro Media Network has Pro Radio and also has all the audio files. If you want to listen to the shows in audio format, you can go to Pro Radio, Spreaker.com/the-sports-coma. Link is in the description section below, but you can also listen to not only the Sports Coma, but Pelican Post Game Report, Ring King's Boxing World, Tough Tiger Talk is also available with the current shows all the way up into backlinks of shows available in audio format at Pro Radio, link in the description section below. Also, let the family members know if you want to become a patron of the channel, you can feel so by doing, you can actually do what you want to do and go to patreon.com/PRO Media Network and go there and check it out. There's some interesting, to be honest with you, some interesting options to take. And of course, as becoming a member of the Pro Media Network, you get access to TSC Q&A Live, which is a show that we only do for our Patreon people. Also, there is the On Q with Big Q show, which we talk that real stuff on. If you're a fan and you're interested in learning that, you can feel free to do that as well. And also, just letting you guys know that a lot of great things is going on here in the PRO Media Network. And just to share the screen with the family members, to let you know that these are the masks that's available now, family. We have them in 3 different selections. They're in multiple colors. They come in several different colors. And these masks are available. The Drew Orleans face masks are available. Really nice designs, man. Really nice designs on the face mask. The Fleur de Lis Underdogs is available. A really nice one as well. And then the New Orleans Saints, the Great Saint Think Tank mask is available as well. So I want you guys to kind of check that out as well. Really nice again. And it, to kind of show some of the family members. Then of course, I want to show you guys one of the hats that's coming out, and we could get on one of the hats as well. But here's one of the hats as well. And of course, this is the camo version. It is, as you could tell, the camo hat, and it's embroidered. This is not painted. This is it's embroidered. We have several hats in several colors, the Drew Orleans hats, as well, that is available at the Pro Media Network at the Pro Shop. So if you're interested in getting your style on, man, I'm telling you, .com is up here. You can see my fingers pointing at the WhoDatDaily.com. It's the official website, the headquarters of the PRO Media Network. We have several contributing writers of articles that are available here. You can go there and get all your Who Dat news and everything, baby, at the WhoDatDaily.com. Much love to you, Steve. Thank you, family, for your super chat. Appreciate the love, man. And once again, man, I thank all the beautiful Black and Gold family members for chiming in tonight on live stream. I'm not going to keep y'all tonight. I know y'all got stuff to do, but I appreciate you guys for coming in and spending some time with me as we talk Saints. The next show will be Saturday at 5 p.m. Central Time as well. Feel free to share the link of the show. Feel free to support the 24-hour live stream. And family, please go to the community section of the page, and you can feel free to put your favorite Sports Coma show in the community section. There'll be a question about it, and you can put in your question or what's your favorite Sports Coma show, and it could be added to the 24-hour live stream. That 24-hour live stream is going on right now while we're having this stream. So it's a great resource for people that just want to hear some Saints talk all the time. And I just love it, man. And like I said, it's evolution, baby. It's going on, baby. Evolution, baby. We got to move it, baby. Going higher and higher, baby. To the sky, baby. You got to keep going, baby. You got to grow, baby, until you touch the sky, baby. You got to move it, baby. Because God is a Saints fan, baby. Who that to you, baby? Who that to you, baby? Much love to you, baby. Who that? Great things, baby. Evolution going on, baby. But not that kind of evolution when they talk about you come from all the monkeys and all that, baby. We ain't talking about that, baby. We talking about godly evolution, baby. Moving up higher and higher, baby. That's what we talking about, baby. All right, Reverend Saint, thank you for that. Appreciate the Reverend chiming at the end of the much love to the family members. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you aren't a subscriber. Join the most passionate Saints fans in the whole world by hitting the subscribe button and joining the Great Saint Think Tank today. Also, feel free to share the links in your social media. Remember, that helps out the platform a lot. Share the links. Share the live stream links. Share the 24-hour links. Share them in your stream, in your social media. It only makes us greater, baby, together. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Much love to all of my YouTube members, all of my Patreon members, and all the Great Saint Think Tank family members, period. Much love to y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for everything that y'all do, and I'll see you later. Who that?
Yeah. Well, all right. Like you always say, welcome, welcome, welcome. Number one sports talking D. We ain't like the Falcons, we won't blow the lead. Look, all we talk is who that, who got cut and who back. Rookies and the vets, players you should look at. It's the sports coma, you don't wanna miss it. Got the pre-game party, post-game statistics. Get a visit from Sway, maybe DC or 5. It's the hottest thing smoking, Big Q and the guys. Go to YouTube Live, make sure you subscribe. Interviews inside the Saints locker room high. Talk to Drew, Jordan, Zach, Peyton, New Orleans, who that nation. Best believe when I say we bleed gold and black. Ain't a miracle or rivalry could ever hold us back. No, Beastquake, Bounty Gate, let the truth be told. It's the sports coma, all we know is say Super Bowl. Yeah.